Fiatjaf, man, it's really cool that we get to meet. I'm in Hong Kong, you're in Brazil. Time zone
Yeah.
matchup is pretty damn awful. But we finally get to meet. I mean, we've been trying to organize this meeting since for a number of months now, since March, I believe. Was it March? Could be, yeah.
Yeah,
It
something
was.
like that.
Yeah, because that's when I went to South Africa. I remember thinking, yeah, finally I'll get to chat to you. But we finally made it. We finally made it. This is great. Anyway, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're from the Nostr. You created Nostr. I see you regularly on Twitter. I love the way you rip into these BTC guys and all sorts of. I have great fun reading your Twitter, by the way.
Thank you. I think most people don't realize that most of the things are jokes. So yeah,
Oh
they
yeah,
try to.
well, okay, well, I see it, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just so much fun. But yeah, I don't think there's really so much a structured. I don't have so much a series of questions and whatnot. It's just that I've noticed the types of technology that you're creating, the sort of mindset you got I could probably say it could be very similar to mine. So maybe there could be a lot of overlap in interesting things to discuss about. And well, one thing I did want to sort of probe your mind about was specifically the flaws of Lightning or issues that Lightning is facing. Yeah, I think along these lines would be maybe a nice good opener. Or what do you think?
Well,
Better point.
well, if you ask the overlord, the guys that develop the protocol and command us,
Oh, I'm
they
sure everything's great, isn't it? Everything's absolutely fine and dandy, isn't it?
no, they will say they have a list of problems they're trying to solve, and some problems they don't know how to solve. But yeah, they have a repository of issues and potential solutions, but I don't remember. I haven't read it very much. But there are two big problems that I see. One is the idea, like the spam issue, like the fact that you can send payments and fail the payment, that the payment doesn't have to complete, and then you can use these failed payments to send messages across all the channels. And in the meantime, you also force all the nodes in the route to
Relay.
create HTLCs, update the channel state, and then they risk having some disconnection or some incompatibility in the middle, and then their channels close. And people are doing that, like they're probing the network a lot of times. I don't know, there's a lot of failed payments in the network, and I think most of them are probes that people, like, they send fake payments, like payments that fail on purpose, just to check if the route is good, stuff like that.
Okay.
And
So do you think a way to handle that would make it into a pull network?
what is that?
Well, okay, so all right, so you get a network, for example, where you like TCP/IP is a more of a push network. So I got your
Oh,
address, I
okay.
can
I
immediately.
mean,
Okay, you got it.
yeah. Pool. I was thinking pool, like that thing with water.
Or like a bull with the horns, right? No, pull network. Okay, sorry, got it. Continue.
No, I don't know. I don't know how to solve it. Yeah, the idea that people have suggested since a long time ago that I like is charging per each attempt. Like, even if
Bridge
the
attempt,
payment
huh?
fails,
Okay, hop by hop.
you still have, you still have to pay a little, very little to your peer, just for the peer to try. And there are a lot of problems, many potential solutions. All of them have drawbacks, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's working fine right now with this model, but I start to get worried when they talk about that boat 11, no, boat 12 stuff that is sending arbitrary messages through the network. I don't know I don't know. I don't understand this network stuff. You do. I think you do understand these things better. You think there's a problem if they start to
No.
allow any node to send any packet to forward any packet through channels like in a fully anonymous way, like using onion packets?
Mm. Uh, okay, so this tech is very new, and like specifically the lightning stuff, and I'm still sort of studying it from a higher level, but I'm not putting too much effort and energy into it because I'm working on a lot of lower level stuff. I'd like to eventually get to that point where I'll be more laser focused. So actually, at the moment, designing and implementing a language to implement something like Lightning is what I'm doing at the moment. And in this language, if you want to get data, you reference a sequence of universally unique identifying information in the form of the public key, and then like a REST style hierarchy. And then what happens is that you just subscribe to that stream, and that stream will be like capability secure. So the owner of that stream will say, Fiatjaf, okay, I recognize your public key. I will serve up the information to you. And in that way, well, you can legitimately pull from I can legitimately pull from your stream, right? So there is the concept of provenance that's built into this system. So it's not some sort of like an arbitrary anonymous type things, like every hop by hop, you know your neighbors, you know who you're peering to. It's basically kind of like a web of trust. Now the thing is that, okay, so you could say that's like the highways, the roads, the tarmac, the roads, and then that sort of evolves and grows up. But then the packets of information that travel over this would be like the information, like the lightning network type stuff, the transactions and whatnot.
Well, on the lightning stuff, the lightning side, you also know your peers because they are the people you have open channels with.
Well, you must know your peers, yeah. So, but the thing is that, like, do you really want to know about the actual transaction, the actual transactions that you're forwarding? You see what I mean? So, yeah, it sounds like, okay. First of all, the channel-based issue. You always want, okay, so you're saying the issue is that they're sending out probing packets to see whether a transaction can go through, right?
Yeah.
So
that's one of the issues, yeah.
It's one of the issues, yeah, because so there's a liquidity issue. Maybe one of the nodes, maybe there's a critical junction which can link two communities of Lightning Network nodes together, and there's like one dude like that connects the two communities together, and he doesn't have enough liquidity. Well, you're not going to. Is that what you?
I don't think that exists. Like, I think the network is small enough that everybody's well connected to everybody else, except some nodes that are on the periphery of the network. But these don't have too much trouble either.
Well, one time I set up a Lightning wallet, and it was between a series of different sorts of applications. I forget even the wallet names, but yeah, the information couldn't be routed between the two apps, right? So, which was kind of annoying. So we both had to
information or payment. It wasn't a Lightning.
Information is payment. Payment is information. Sorry, I see this. I see these networks in a little bit different way. It's just, to me, it's just information, right? Yeah,
But
yeah.
for information, you don't need liquidity. You don't need the channel balance to
No,
be.
but the transaction is information, right? It's just fucking information, bro. Like you're routing information. Like I just like a car, like the road routes cars, right? Exactly. So a car can hold different sort of people who hold different information. I don't give a fuck about the information. I just care about routing the information, the cars. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I can see it that way too. Yeah,
yeah,
but I don't know. I think that you may have faced like some other routing issues, like they didn't have a full view of the network, or it didn't try all the routes it could, or maybe you were poorly connected. You were connected only to one node, and that
yeah,
node was boogie or something.
yeah.
There are so many things that can happen. Like one node can just
Die.
have a bug and
Yeah,
stop responding,
yeah.
and then the channel has to be closed because the timeout's reached, etc.
Right. So the way I would solve, okay. Maybe you can introduce the second issue that you had with the Lightning Network, and then see, because then the problem becomes a little bit more juicy, right?
The second problem is a problem that no one recognizes. I think no one, very few people even know this thing exists, but
Okay.
the
What?
ones that
Not
do
even the
know, they don't think
overlords?
it's a
Are you
problem.
kidding me? Not
The
even the
overlords, the,
overlords?
the overlords know that all the technical stuff, like all the details they know, but they don't give a damn about this. And
Of
I do.
course they don't.
It's so the problem is that there's a marketing discourse or a narrative that says Lightning is for small payments,
Yeah.
and at the other side, the other hand, like the entire premise of the thing is that you send a Bitcoin transaction to your peer in the form of an HTLC. You
No,
know
it's a
what?
multi-sig, right? It's a
No,
multi-sig.
no, no. It works like that. When you open a channel, you make a multi-sig
Yeah.
with your peer.
Okay. Then you set up an HTLC.
No, then you set transaction that spans from that. You both sign that
Yes.
transaction,
Yes.
and you don't broadcast. And when
Oh,
the channel balance, when the channel state changes, you choose sign a new transaction
right.
that invalidates the previous one
Right.
through mechanisms that we don't care, and so on. And every time you propose a payment, you update the channel state, and then that payment either fails or completes. And then you update again.
Right.
When you propose a payment, like in the normal transaction that spans from the multi-sig, it is like it has two outputs, one for you, one for your peer,
Yeah.
with the respective balances.
Yeah.
And when you propose a payment, you add a new output to that, which is an output that spans through an HTLC.
Okay.
And if you propose another payment, while that other one is not completed yet, then you create a new transaction with four outputs, one to your
Fuck.
peer, one to you, and one to each HTLC. Yeah.
Okay, so that means oh man, so that means you're leaving a string of boxes that need to be opened.
Yeah. If your channel happens to be closed in the middle of a lot of payments, are in flight, they are not resolved, and then your channel has to be closed. You have to you have a transaction that has like a lot of outputs, and you have to, for each of these outputs, you have to redeem the HTLC or not. One of the two sides have to redeem the HTLC. If the payment completed, you have the preimage,
Right.
and you can use the preimage. No. The party that is receiving has the preimage. They can publish the preimage to the blockchain while reading that HTLC. If they don't have the preimage, the HTLC will expire after some blocks, a number of blocks. Then the payer gets the money back by claiming the HTLC. You get that? Does
Yeah,
it make sense?
that makes sense. Yeah. So okay, so you're leaving a series of
The,
boxes
yeah,
that's
the
that and
biggest one that I saw that was closed on the chain had 51 HTLCs.
what was the
Yeah.
could you see the accumulated value of all of that? Oh
Oh,
shit,
I don't remember.
51. Oh shit. Dude, that sounds like a leaky bucket right there, man. Oh, that's not
So
okay.
yeah, in the beginning they had a I think the limit was 300 HTLCs, I think, and then they all reduced them to like 30. Uh,
Okay,
like
so that means your system can only handle like 30 HTLC buckets that you're leaving around, right? Then how's it going to stop you from creating any more? Or would it just say, "Oh, sorry, you're being a
yeah,
messy"?
well, yeah, the two peers agree on the parameters when they create
Okay,
the channel,
yeah,
and yeah, you don't accept more than that. Like wait for one of these to resolve, then you can open a new one.
right,
The
right,
peer will
right,
say.
right. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so now that's made the problem a little bit more juicy.
So I've muted myself because there was a car here. So no, but the problem is that you can't create an HTLC for a payment that has like 10 sets or 100 sets. You know?
Okay. Why can't okay, you cannot create a payment for a channel that has 100 sets. Yeah, you can't because you're forcefully limited to 30. Is that correct?
No, because you can't make Bitcoin transactions that are too small. Like you can't make a
Oh
Bitcoin
yes.
transaction that
Yeah.
there are 10 sets and published to the blockchain. And these things they're made to be published to the blockchain if necessary.
Yes.
So when you send a you propose a payment to a peer that
Yes.
is 10 sets or whatever people like this streaming set stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
you saw that value for value podcast stuff.
I'm not sure what to make of that. I think it's a bit of a mental masturbation going on there. Uh,
Yeah. I think the intentions are good, but I don't like it. Uh, uh, yeah, but they people they keep sending these payments that are 1 Satoshi, 10 Satoshis, 5 Satoshis, even 100 Satoshis or 200 or 300. There's Bitcoin Core won't relay transactions that have outputs smaller than I think 3 or 400 Satoshis. So anything before anything below that doesn't create an HTLC. Actually, like it creates a it doesn't create an HTLC on
it
the
just
channel update.
yeah. So okay, so that
And
means
also
uh-huh.
like there's a calculation. The nodes calculate how much in fees will I have to pay to redeem this HTLC, and anything above that, anything below that, they don't create an HTLC for. So if the
Okay.
fees are high, if the blockchain fees are high, uh, the higher the blockchain fees are, the less chance of an HTLC being created for a payment that is small.
Yeah,
You get it.
that makes sense. So in a future where everything in our world, the value of everything in our world divided by 21 million or 21 quadrillion Satoshi.
Yeah,
So suddenly like you can buy like an ocean liner with like 300 sats or something. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like suddenly the entire network sort of takes off. I mean, yeah, I suppose at that point, like the entire main chain would need to readjust its sort of fees to bring it down into some sort of like reality. If it ever, I don't know, hard to say, hard to say. So okay, now the problem has been made more juicy now. We've got little bits of information that can't be routed. That's sort of sitting there. That's in like like the doldrums. Oh gosh. Okay. What the way?
but the payments are routed. They just don't. My problem is that they don't share any of the security promises of the network, and
Oh, I
like
see. Oh, so they're little
Yeah.
bastardized second citizen, like second class
Yeah,
citizens,
but
right?
the majority of payments are these small
Oh,
payments,
I
right?
see.
And
I
people love the
see.
network for that, right?
So, so okay. So all of these payments are like second class citizens that are just absolutely don't have any security guarantees. It's like, and then you get the Bitcoiners who are like, yeah, no. Lightning is like, it's like what's it what do they say? Like along the lines, it's like it's trustless, right? It's trustless. And
Yeah.
now there's a whole class of second class citizens that are just not bye-bye, darling. that are treated as second class citizens. Okay, that's kind of amusing. Yeah, that's kind of amusing. And like when you sort of enter, like you can actually also attack these channels, like even with like 51% attacks and whatnot. I mean, well, I suppose the same thing goes. We don't have to open up that chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to shit the network very much. I like it. I like that Lightning. I think like
But it's good to shit
we
on
should
these things.
abandon
This is
we
where
should
we pick out
abandon
the holes, bro. We pick out the holes, Keep going. Yeah, what were you saying?
yeah, my idea is that we should abandon this HTLC mess and we just assume like we just
Whoa.
I don't know the word, but like
Just trust.
we just accept there is trust. Yeah.
Did you just say trust?
Yeah.
So okay, all right. Abandon the HTLCs in favor of what?
Well, we just trust them for
You
the
did say
duration of
just
the payment.
trust.
You're repeating the same stuff.
Okay. Well, I mean, fucking heretic. All right. Okay, then what would the system look like? How would you design a system such that you don't have the HTLCs? Because I don't know. Like when I first started reading about HTLCs, I thought, that's kind of sexy. I like this idea. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, but I think you could still have the HTLCs for big payments. I don't know, but for the small payments, you already don't have the HTLCs, but you should have a different system, like something that can be audited. Like you can trust your peer, but currently you just trust and you have nothing. Like if the payment if the channel happens to be closed, like the node they will yeah, that there was that other thing. The nodes they will close the channel because when an HTLC is about to expire, if you have the pre-image and your peer is not cooperating with you, like not responding, you have to close the channel so you can use the pre-image on the chain and get the money. Or if you don't have the pre-image, you have to close the channel so you can redeem the HTLC after the timeout. And the nodes they will do that even though there's no HTLC. And even though there is like the payment that is causing the trouble is like 10 Satoshis, they will close the entire channel. And then when the channel drops on the chain, they see, oh, there's an HTLC for this channel. Let me redeem it. Oh, there's no HTLC. Oh, I closed this channel. There's no HTLC. I can't get my money back. And the money that was supposed to be on the HTLC, it's
what
redirected
happened?
to minor fees. Like it goes
What
to minor.
minor
It goes
fees?
to minor. Yeah.
Wait,
So
how does
none
it
of the
drop down
peers
to
get.
minor fees? How does it drop down to minor fees then?
So we have we
Oh,
have
it
a
does.
channel of
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Explain it. Maybe audience might not get it, or maybe
no,
I don't get it.
the odds will get it. If you don't get it, message me.
You lazy fuck.
Okay, let me explain. So you update you update the channel state by signing a new transaction. So you just when I have 1 Bitcoin, you have 1 Bitcoin on the channel.
Right.
I'm sending 10 Satoshis through this channel. So we create a new transaction updating the state of that channel. And now I have 1 Bitcoin less minus 10 Satoshis. And you still have 1 Bitcoin. And the 10 Satoshis they're nowhere. So they go to miners.
Okay. Okay, so at least it doesn't get like burned or something like that, right?
Burn. Yeah, yeah, that would be bad.
Okay, so the routing issue. The way I would probably go about doing that is I would have two packets. Excuse me. I would have two packets. One would be a request packet. The other one would be a response packet. And then if I want to route, okay, assume that you already have a network up and running of peers. It's a trusted network. Every peer is saying, okay, yeah, I trust you, you trust me. And it's an overlay of a TCP/IP network or a UDP network. It doesn't matter. But the point is that the endpoints in this network are the public key, and not something that is controlled by an ISP, which is the IP address. So you can have multiple IP addresses or access to the network via, I don't know, LoRaWAN or all sorts of different transports.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the network is cemented in place via knowledge of the cryptographic material, or in the sense of the public key. That's the addresses. And then what would happen is like, okay, assume that every connection would have, maybe you can have like a pool of liquidity between each hop. And then I would launch a request. A request would then, a naive approach, an initial naive approach, would be flood the network. So this request would be a lightweight thing, very, very lightweight. And it's requesting for this data, and the data would be named. So let's say from Hong Kong to Brazil, I want to send you a payment. If I issue a request, the request would bounce hop by hop. It might find multiple paths to you. That's a little bit of a bitch, eh? It might find multiple paths to you, and then you might receive the same request multiple times from multiple different channels that you have, or even multiple times on the same channel. And then what will happen is that you see the request, and then you say, okay, yes, I will create an invoice. Oh, wait, invoice is the right one, right? Yeah, no, the other one. Anyway, so I will create a payment for you, and then what will happen is you can you set up the thing, and you actually name that. You name the new payment that you want to make. You immediately send a response saying, okay, yes, I acknowledge you. I will let you pull from me. And you can pull from me at this named data address. And then you get that. So the path will be remembered from Hong Kong to Brazil. The first path, it'll be remembered. And then the data will be relayed back again. I will get the response, and I might get the response multiple times depending on the different pathways. So the network will be adaptive and say, oh, yes, okay. I have relayed this information before. I won't relay it again. And I got a response from this pathway. So the whole network starts to collapse along the most efficient path. In other words, the quickest path. So if I create a further network traffic, what will happen is the whole network just converges onto this one pathway. And if there's a problem, if there's a break in that network, then what will happen is the network will be aware of that and start branching out at that point, and then it'll converge again. So it will be self-healing. Yeah, and then so then once I get the response from you for the request to pay, then I'll get the information about where to pay. I mean, where to I'm paying you, so I need to send that information. Yeah, okay. Then
you get the path.
Yeah, I'll get the path. Okay, so fuck, I'm losing.
Then you can
Yeah, keep going. It's
No,
six, it's
no, I
six,
don't.
it's six, it's, I am barely awake now. I'm thinking you design fucking things at so early in the morning. Jesus Christ. Mm.
So yeah, there was talks on the Lightning Network, people like researchers maybe 4 years ago
Yeah.
about ant routing. What you're describing
Okay.
is very much like that. Have you heard this term? Ant
No, no,
routing?
no. I stay away from the Lightning Network gang.
But I don't think it's from the Lightning Network. So I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
a generic routing. What I don't know. I don't understand this thing. But people like applying ant routing to the Lightning Network. These were the research papers, and they
Okay.
say the ants. I don't. They say ants go walking and like
Oh
in
yeah, no,
random
they're using ant
directions.
colony optimization. Yeah, yeah. I would also use actually I would use ant colony optimization. So for example, like that would create a pheromone trail. And the pheromone
Yeah,
trail
yeah.
is the path that it would be the path that the data will continue to flow
Is
on.
that what you described? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm glad you know about ant colony optimization. That's one of my favorite things. I love ACO. Beautiful.
I didn't know. I didn't know that name.
No, no,
I
yeah,
don't,
it is.
I only know ant routing because that's the name I
Oh,
was
is that what they call it?
presenting.
They call it ant routing, right?
Yeah.
No, no, I just described ACO, yeah, ant colony optimization. It's a great wee little algorithm, and there's so many different variations to it and whatnot. It's great fun, and what I love about it is that it's quite adaptive, right? So like if one node falls down, one node dies, then that pheromone trail is like, oh, the ants aren't coming back. Fuck, what do we do? Look, we have to route the information in another way, right? And then so it can be self-healing. And actually it's
But
very, very efficient at routing.
isn't it spammy? Like you have to send all these ants to all the random
Yeah, well,
places.
yeah. So you get ants crawling all over you, right? Okay, so the network is designed to do that. So you see, okay, the adaptation that I did was not. This is a tough one, eh? Yeah, it is tough. I feel you. Okay, so yes, you can issue the same request multiple times, but because you're in a network and it's slightly different from typical ACO. Typical ACO is that you send out ants, and then when the ants come back, and then they start coming back on the same channel, then you know that this is the in future requests I must put it out on this channel because the probability of the ants coming back will be much higher if
Yeah.
I send it out on that channel, right? Because the pheromone is a higher concentration. What am I saying now? Okay, so in a packet network, what would happen is that I would flood on a first go. I would flood every channel that I have, and I would forward the same request with the same nonce on every single channel, and then I would just wait. Fiatjaf. I would just wait to see which channel returns the response first. And the channel and by logic, because I can't see I don't have a global view of the network. I don't
Yeah.
want to have a global view of the network because if I do have a global view of the network, then I can become a rent seeker. I can become a god, and I can start to impose my will on other people. I become an overlord, you see, and I don't want that. I want every single node to be exactly the same. So the only information I have is to say, oh, the ant came back on this channel, or channel 3 of 5 channels. Therefore, if I want to route information to you and back again, Brazil and back to Hong Kong, then using channel 3 is the most optimal at this time and this place in the world. So I can just get an idea of the pheromone trail, the initial pheromone trail, just by how quickly the response comes back. And then I will uptick it. I'm using something called a Bayes what's it? A Bayes no, it's a Bayes algorithm, naive Bayes algorithm, which is a very interesting algorithm because that you can use it to find where gold is sunk in the ocean, bro. This shit's awesome. I love it. So basically, you train this algorithm by telling the information, by telling it where the information is not. So anyway. I think I might be getting.
I think it's getting too deep for me.
It is. I know. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, all I can say is that you can start to train the pheromone trails. Now, oh shit.
Okay.
I think we're in the weeds now. We're totally in the weeds now. We need to recover. We need to somehow get back to some sort of like a solid ground, a rock to stand on. Because right now we're busy floating out in the ocean. Okay.
So
all right.
This reminds me of Nostr because.
Oh yeah, I should. This is why the problems are very similar, right?
Yeah. Well, this is like the way the finding stuff on the internet. I think this is a very hard problem.
It's a bitch
that you're trying to solve with these ants. And
it's a bitch. It's an absolute bitch. But we'll open up the Nostr chapter in a moment. Okay, so if the data doesn't come back, then just assume that, well, shit happens. You don't have a connection with the data, or else the data is not there, or there's no connection to the data, because you might have two communities that are not connected together. But the thing is that if you keep spamming for that data, every node is like considered a self-sovereign node. So I will peer with you, Fiatjaf, unless I can peer with you directly via TCP connection directly with each other. And if I keep spamming you, then what will happen is that your node will look at this and say, hang about, this Stewart Mackenzie guy, he keeps routing information to me and I am forwarding it onto the network and it's not getting replies. So I'm going to shut you. So you're going to shut my node down. Or you could rate limit it. You could reduce the rate and say, oh,
yeah, but I don't know if it's you. Like, could be someone.
You're right. That's right. So that's why it's going to be like a cascading. So the pathway from whoever's sending the information through me will also, that particular channel will also be penalized. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, because everybody's using the same software, right? So
yeah, exactly.
They will, yeah.
But
if someone is not, they will be dead because they will be penalized on both sides and etc.
No. Well, what's going to happen is it'll be for a specific name, so per public key. So for example, this is a whole different series of issues that the network will face. But what will happen is that, like, I will start to be alerted that this particular channel is okay. Let's say you're spamming a whole bunch of different bits of information that just don't exist in the network, and then you see what will happen is that because it's new, that request is new to the network, every node will flood it out. So actually, you can create a kind of like an exponential wave, a flood of information that every node recreates and floods out because it's searching for this data in the network, right? And that can generate a lot of data across the entire world. In fact, a single request can do that. So that's why I say it's naive, because it has to search for that data, and that search can be costly. But if you distribute the cost across every node in the network, then maybe you can do it. So this is to me, this is a part that needs to be sort of like explored a little bit. I mean,
the part you were asking? What's the name of that guy that you did an Indaba with?
Nikita?
No, the prediction market guy, Robin Hansel.
Paul. Oh, Robert. Oh, yes.
You were asking him Like, oh, you have it because he has so many crazy ideas, and
Yes,
he
yes.
thinks new things. Like, and then you ask him that, oh, do you have some idea about this? How to solve this? And his answer was just some stupid.
Fluff.
It was just, oh, go read the literature. Like, there are books about this. You stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed the tone change, and I thought, okay, okay. So this is how the so when he can't answer a question, this is how he goes, right? So I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get away
that's
from
it.
the subject. Okay, okay. We'll only stay in the area where you feel comfortable with, because otherwise I'm going to be berated. Go read the literature, young man. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is a difficult problem to solve. Hey, this is really a nasty problem. But yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
I
think
think
there's a way to solve. Like, if you wanna make one request to get one little piece of information,
yeah,
and that information could be anywhere, you have no idea. You only
yeah,
have the public key, and
yeah.
then you start sending ants around or whatever. That will never scale. That's impossible. That
I don't
will only
know.
work for a very niche.
Maybe a high performance cluster. Maybe could be. Yeah, could be. Or or
Like
or
very very small closed systems. But it
mm,
won't work for a global network. Is that what you're trying to do?
yeah. I want to go in the direction of a global network. But here's the thing. I recognize that. But here's the thing, like look at ants, man. Like look at fucking ants. They can do amazing shit, man. They can do amazing shit. Like they're one of the like they're everywhere in the world, right? So they've got some evolutionary advantage in searching for food, right? Searching for information. So I think there's a lot of mileage that can be done. Maybe if you're running some sort of high performance cluster, you can go with that. But then as soon as data goes outside of that network, maybe you would want to use a less anti approach or 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 something along those lines. But this is very much R&D at the moment, right? So I'm going to start
So
with yeah.
let me say some shit. So the ants, they are looking for a single thing. Like,
Yes.
there's one thing, and all the ants are interested in that same thing,
Well, there
which
would be
is
one ant.
food.
There would be one ant.
No, audience. The only thing they want is food, let's
Yes.
say.
Yes.
So anything that looked like food, they found it. Oh, I found something that can be eaten. So they take it. But actually it's not that. I think they use other stuff. They're more smart. They're smarter than that. But suppose they only want food. And so it's easy, right? You
Yeah.
send ants around and
Yeah.
there's food right there. Like, you don't have to search the entire world for a very specific thing because food's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same problem that Bitcoin solves. For example, Bitcoin has this. I don't know how Bitcoin routes blocks through the network, but it's similar to these because I think
Floods.
it's,
It floods it.
yeah, because there's only one thing everybody wants, that thing, which is the new block or
Yeah.
the transactions for the new
That's
block.
simple.
Yeah, you don't have like, oh, where can I find the picture of a cat, whatever, in a very specific.
Yeah.
I want the thing that has this hash, for example, which is the problem IPFS tries to solve. Have you looked into that IPFS?
Yeah, I met the IPFS guys actually. They wanted to hire me to do stuff for them. But at that point I was so angry with the state of affairs. It was in 2019 and I was fucking livid. I was pissed at the entire networking system. Like there's a whole sub-community or community called the Name Data Networking Community. And I went to that conference over there. It was in Macau, just a hop over before all the COVID crap. And yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for the name data networking guys to pull up their socks for years now. And then I went to this conference. It was the first time I met them. Well, actually, not the first, the second time. But I just
What is
saw the
that
state
name data? What is
name data
name data?
networking, NDN, name data
Hmm.
networking. Anyway, so and I saw what they were doing, and I think in my own special way, I lost it. I didn't lose it physically, but inside I was just like, fuck these guys. Fuck them. These fucking academics aren't going to get jack shit done. So I was like, okay, all right. So this is why the work I've been doing has basically been rage-driven development.
Yeah, that's how I do it too.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, the only way to do
But
it.
it's yeah.
So,
Well,
oh, where
well,
were we?
but explain this better. Like, what is this name? How is this related to IPFS?
Oh
This
yeah,
name.
sorry, because I met the guys, the IPFS guys came through. They funded themselves through this Filecoin crap, and
Yeah.
they came through. They obviously they're trawling for people to work for them. And I was busy chatting to them, and yeah, I'm not too keen on IPFS. I don't know too much about it, but all I know is that they implemented a series of networking libraries in Python. And
No. They use Go. I think Go
no,
is the language
no.
they love more.
They used yeah. But before that, they implemented their shit in Python.
I don't think you're right. I don't think you're
Really?
right. Yeah.
No, I think I'm
I
very
think it's
right.
Go. The Huam guy that started the thing, I think he loved Go. And all the things were Go.
No, yeah, but they had a series of libraries by the same company. The same company. Maybe it wasn't specifically the IPFS stuff, but there was a series of libraries. I forgot the name of it, but that was all written in Python. And any company that makes networking shit in Python, fuck you, you dumb fucks. No ways. I'm not interested. Not interested. So anyway, I thought these people just.
What about JavaScript? JavaScript is good or not?
That's total dog shit, man. Jesus, like what the hell? Jesus Christ. I mean,
they have JavaScript stuff. I don't know. I never seen this Python stuff you're talking about. I think you're confusing with JavaScript because they had Go and then they had JavaScript. They have all the things in Go and JavaScript. Dude, and then they say, oh, we're going to have the same implementation in Python, in Rust, in Haskell, or whatever. But they didn't do anything like I think just Go and JavaScript are the main ones.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so anyway, JavaScript.
Okay, sorry.
Crap. Yeah, I know you muted because of a vehicle. No, JavaScript's equally crap. I mean, like, what the hell? Why are you implementing a fucking networking library in JavaScript? Jesus, that's so dumb. Anyway, anyway, where are we? Where are we? Okay, so yeah, so they I met them and they oh yeah. Well, I think they do hashed content, don't they? Right. So you look it up by the hash. Right?
Yeah.
So that means the hash is then that means you're busy circulating hashes. That's fucking dumb. Humans don't give a shit about hashes. It's not human readable, right? That's stupid. Don't do that.
Well, but you have to have a way to identify the content. And the hash is a good way.
Dude, don't make me slap you too. I'm just kidding, by the way.
Well, tell me, why is not? Why is it
because it's stupid. You need to have something. I need a public key. I need your public key. So that means we've got like a trusted network, right? Then the public key is the beginning address point. And then from there, you can start to create your own little universe after your public key. Like, oh, I'm into hentai porn, etc. So you create a /hentai, and then you can serve up your videos from there, right? Or whatever. But the point is
but that's not their goal, right? Their goal is
I know their goal is not that. That's why I'm not happy with what they do.
Well, what they want is like, well, suppose, yeah, I don't want to defend them because I hate them too, but I was trying to. I like the idea, but I think it doesn't work, and I tried it many times. It doesn't work, and I think it cannot work. I think it's impossible, so I gave up. And then now I call them. I try to alert other people that are investing in them, and trying to build stuff on top of IPFS. I try to alert people and say, this thing doesn't work. Stop wasting your time. And, and that's what I do.
So why doesn't it work for you?
It doesn't work because I can't find this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the fundamental problem. I have a hash that I know.
but
The
how do you
hash,
get the hash? How do you even get the hash in the first
yeah,
place?
well, in my own tests, I had the hash because I had the file, and I wanted to access the same file from a different computer, and it would never work.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, so not only do you have the situation where, like, first of all, getting other people's hashes is like, yeah, good luck with that. There's
Well,
no
I think you can do that using
how.
other means. There are
Oh, how?
from other networks. Yeah.
Oh, through other networks. That's what I'm trying to say. Is you can't. It can't be a network that exists by itself. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
It,
yeah, no, yeah. I
so
think I think they never wanted. At least I never thought of it like that. Although some people, crazy enough, didn't think about the consequences. They did claim that IPFS would be the replace everything, etc. But I
yeah,
think it could work. If it worked, it could be like a parallel network only for files, transferring files that would be like the hashes would be transmitted through other networks. Yeah,
like
and that would
uh-huh.
be good.
Well,
I
I
think.
mean, yeah, okay. So if I've got like a Fiatjaf, and then I'd need some sort of entry point to your stuff, and then your stuff, you can respond with me to say, oh, okay, if you're interested in my stuff, this is like my index.html. This, if you're interested in my stuff, here's a list of my other stuff, and then I can go through the first response from the your entry point, and see, oh, okay, Fiatjaf's likes hentai. Great, let's go to your hentai.
That's not
So
true.
that I can open up the network that way. I need to be able to open up the network, and but if your first thing is a hash that changes every
You
single
die there.
time
Yeah,
that you fucking add data to this thing, like, it's impossible to go into the network. It's
yeah, yeah.
just impossible. It's just a stupid design if you're going to do it from that perspective. And then secondly, and that, okay, so that's the first level of retardation. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but okay. Then the second is you saying that even if you do have the hash and you've got a
Yeah,
network node that's on the same network, it can't find
yeah.
it
Yeah, in theory it should be able to, but
in theory,
often it
but you,
wouldn't.
often
Often
it
it would.
wouldn't. Okay, no,
Yeah.
well, then it's dead in the water, man. So I'm glad I didn't even bother looking at this, at trying out this technology. I mean, just from a high level, with them implementing shit in JavaScript, and oh, oof, no way, kill it.
Yeah, that there was one episode that I remember. I had the two computers side by side on the same LAN, and I was trying to pass data from one to the other,
Yeah.
and they couldn't find the data. And then I you had like you could there were some low level commands that you could see the peers you're connected to and etc. And you could issue a low level command to connect to another peer using their public key and their
Uh-huh.
IP. And I would do that to connect to the computer right on the side. And then it would start like it would start sending the file very slowly, very slowly.
Okay.
I don't understand. I'm connected directly to the computer. It's right here. Why is so slow? Like I could do an SCP or rsync or etc. It would be much faster.
I'll tell you why it was slow.
And then after some seconds, they would disconnect.
Oh.
Like this is the only peer that has a file I want. I'll just disconnect from it.
That's so stupid. All right. Okay. Okay. There's something called added multiple. No, additive increase, multiplicative decrease, and that is something. There's a m additive increase, multiplicative decrease. What that means is that you're going to. I will try not to use explicit terminology. So what that has is like, so I need to find the limit of how many packets I can send per window of time, right? So what they did was probably the most stupid, naive thing, which was to send like a couple of packets per window, and you wouldn't ramp up the amount of packets that you have per window, right? So they would just have a constant amount of packets that are sending per window. What you want to do is you want to send like more and more. You want to increase the amount of packets. But then as soon as you start getting packet failures, well, then you drop it by half. You drop the amount of packets that you send per window by half. So you get like
that's what TCP
sawtooth
does, or something like that.
That's exactly what TCP does. You're absolutely
correct. I thought they were using TCP.
No, but the algorithm itself probably doesn't have that. You see, probably on a low level, they have not implemented additive increase, multiplicative decrease. But yes, you're absolutely right. TCP/IP uses that, and they found that you have to do the multiplicative decrease. It's like an exponential back off. It's like, oh, sorry, I've been raping the network a bit too much. Let me pull back a little bit. I'm sure I'm gonna have to bleep that out.
Okay.
Yeah. Where were we?
I had another case like with IPFS. I don't know if you're interested in that.
Always interested in it.
I wanted to use IPFS to distribute. Like I had a ton of shit that I accumulated on my computer, like backups of old websites and a lot of text.
Yeah, right.
Portuguese stuff that I couldn't find anywhere. It's stuff like that. I had like some magazines that I had typed some articles. Like I bought the magazine and I typed this stuff. Like old stuff. And I wanted to distribute that because I knew there were some people that were interested, and I wanted to put it somewhere for people to access. So I thought, oh, I'll do this IPFS stuff, and then other people can download it, and they can serve the same stuff that I'm hosting here to other interested people, etc. So that's why I started looking at it. And at some point, I had so much stuff there. No, I didn't want to keep my home machine online hosting this stuff. So I thought I would use a cheap VPS that would be running IPFS stuff on it, and then but the content would be on S3 because they said they could do that. Like I would store stuff on Amazon, Amazon S3, and then whenever someone asked for the content, that's what I thought would happen. Like, oh, this thing is running here. No one is interested in the content. If someone asks for the content, I would download it from S3 and send to them. And so I ran like a tutorial thing, the plugin that had to be enabled, compiled, enabled for the S3 stuff to work. And immediately, like I don't remember why, but while compiling the code, I think there was a bug somewhere in the code. So I asked help from one of the IPFS developers at the time, Sebastian something, and he helped me. And then in between, for the grace of God, I inserted a lot of log statements in the S3 plugin code, and then I don't know why I did that. I don't remember.
I can already start to see. Keep going.
And then he started like So the thing started. I've compiled it, fixed the bug, etc. And I started it and started looking at the logs, and the logs were like sending packets, receiving packets, the hundreds and hundreds of packets being sent around, and then it was downloading stuff on S3, downloading again. I don't understand. I don't remember exactly, but it was like my S3 bill in 10 minutes. It went like to $4 or something like that in 10 minutes because it was downloading stuff all the time, download. I think it would download stuff, hash it, and then announce to peers, I have this hash, something like that. And then it like 10 seconds again, 10 seconds after it would do that again.
Oh my God, Jesus. Wow.
So I complained to the guy. He explained to me that was correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that was intended. And I could jump some flags, etc., to disable that, but then no one would be able to find my content, and etc. So I just gave up.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that, and you asked me like maybe you would be interested. I'm really glad you mentioned that because like that is something I would fucking never do. Like, why would you want to broadcast what I've got to your nodes? Do you see what I mean? That's so I see why they're doing it because they want to get the information out to other nodes, saying, okay, like if you want this information, then you go to that node. So it makes it easier to route information. But if you do that, oh God, that's even worse. If you do that, it's just gonna flood the network with information about. It's gonna relay
Yeah,
information. How many hops? I don't know. So suddenly your index is gonna be
yeah,
more
yeah.
than the actual data that you've got, right? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That's
stupid.
what I'm saying. That's why I concluded it's impossible. Like,
Yeah.
and you have to flood, and it was doing that like every 10 seconds. It would flood again and flood again. Like, I'm still here. I still have this data. In case you wonder, I still have the data I had 10 seconds ago. uh, and when the person is searching for the data, they will also flood, and there's flood from all the sides. And
No, no. So that's dead in the water, man. So like, there's no. Yeah, I okay. Don't use IPFS. Just don't do that. So yeah, I mean, I think it was I'm not even going to say it was a noble effort. I'm not even going to say that. But anyway, people write software, and that's all I'll say. Without thinking. Um, yeah. So I don't know. Let's go back to picking apart Bitcoin and whatnot. I mean, what's your thoughts on well, Bitcoin the protocol? I mean, do you have any issues or anything with the Bitcoin the protocol itself?
no, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't have many. I
that's
don't
pretty.
like I don't like the fact that we can't have updates, we can't have soft forks, and
I agree with
that
you.
yeah. But I understand the other side of people that don't want to have any soft forks, and I understand the arguments. I was very angry about everything. Now I'm less angry. I I just think
That
there's
means
a
you're getting old,
fundamental.
bro. That means you're getting older.
Yeah, I got a lot older in the last year.
I
So the problem is that the my what do you think about this?
want to hear
My
it.
yeah, let me say. Uh, my problem is that I think there's no interest like in some protocols, like some soft forks, like the for example, take the any prevout one. You know that?
No.
No? It's a very small, very simple, very harmless change that would enable a ton of stuff. It would make Lightning simpler. The Lightning protocol is very complicated.
Oh, okay.
It would make
Yes,
Lightning
yes,
simpler.
yes. Okay.
It
I
would allow space
y-
chains, state chains.
yes. You've mentioned it before. I didn't follow that little rat that thread. I did not follow it. Sorry. Keep going. So now you can expand on it.
Yeah, you can do better Lightning. You can do space chains, state chains. You can do. You interviewed Ruben Sonsen, right? He talked about space chains, I think,
Yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
state chains,
Yeah.
and and there's also a new drive chain thing that I don't know how it works, but they say it works. That can be done with that, like a fake drive chain thing. That
Okay.
a lot of people have talked about fake drive chain, fake ways to do drive chain. I think this one is the only one that may work. I don't know. I'm waiting
Which
for
BIP is
post
that?
torch to
Which BIP number is
uh
that?
118.
780. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw Paul talking about that one too. Yeah, okay. I know the one you're talking about, but only vaguely. Okay, now so the issue is this being a soft fork, yeah?
Okay, yeah. The issue is that a lot of people want this, but for it to be really considered like as a real candidate for being enabled on the network. I think like one of the big Bitcoin overlords has to want it, because there's this culture around everything, like, oh, I only trust one of the few luminaries, etc. And even if like, and they like, if Greg Maxwell, etc., one of these guys started pushing for it, it would be enabled very, very quickly, very easily. But if all the other people want it, then it won't. Yeah, that's the problem. And it's not that Greg Maxwell does not want this. Like, I think he's okay with it, but he doesn't care, because he's interested in all this stuff. He's interested in cryptographic whatever novelties. I don't know what he's doing, or I don't know him, etc. But he's just not interested, so he's not pushing for it. So it will never happen, probably, because of that, unless one of the overlords, or the overlords change. Like, if the old overlords get retired, they retire and new ones replace them, and then maybe this can happen. But yeah, but this exists. I think there's no way around that. Like, it's a human thing. People will trust
Yeah.
the leaders, etc.
Yeah. So I
But my sorry.
yeah.
Let me just finish that.
Sure.
This per se is not a problem. It's annoying, but it's not. There's nothing to be done about it. But my problem is that everybody seems to think it's not that. Like, they think it is, because, oh, this thing has not proven itself. It's not good enough for our like high standards of code, and it has to have a test net, has to have people working on it, while none of these things were true for any of the previous soft forks.
Sure, of course not.
Yeah, so they keep coming up with excuses, but because they refuse to acknowledge the truth, that is, we need
overlord.
someone, one overlord that I trust as my leader has to say okay to this. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, talking about.
No, I completely agree with you. I would have said that was a flaw, but now I start to see it more as a feature, and the reason I see that, or I say that, is because of a recent sort of like introductory to a new perspective I've recently gained on Bitcoin, and how things operate, and specifically Bitcoin, how it also operates with drive chains, and I want to bounce this idea off you. I think this would be quite interesting. Okay. Are you familiar with Jason Lowry?
No.
Okay, so this dude is a recent guy that's coming into the Bitcoin space. He's pushing this idea that Bitcoin is actually a weapon. It's like a high energy weapon, and it's a new way to make war. He is hear me out. This is really
I had never heard of this guy.
Dude,
okay.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Anyway, so he's do you remember when Trump created some sort of like a thing called Space Force? And I think
no.
What, dude? Don't you remember that? Okay, so it's a new branch of the military, bro. You got the Navy, you got the Army, you got the Air Force, and then they got Space Force now. Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Dude, when that happened, I was like, "Oh my fucking god, this is hysterical." I thought it was a Trumpy thing, but it's totally valid, man. Like countries like China and whatnot, they're able to launch satellites that intercept other people's satellites and immobilize them, or like, I don't know, throw a net around them or something. I don't know, but
have they done it, or they just?
I think they have. I think they might have done this already. So the response that the USA did was like, well, we're going to create Space Force.
And then we start building a next wing.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know. So maybe it's not so much Star Wars or anything like that, but But yeah, I mean, I think it's more. It's like all the people in Space Force are actually on the ground. They don't go into space.
Very interesting. Just like the Navy doesn't go to the
To the sea,
ocean.
right?
Yeah.
Well, they do, but they don't. Anyway, so basically, this dude's in Space Force, and he's a rather intelligent fella, and he sees Bitcoin through the lens of war. So he sees, okay, and I'll sort of give like the small pitch. I did this in a previous Indaba, which I'm still repairing the audio for. Anyway, so I'll give the pitch now. You started with single cells in the ocean like billions of years ago, right? And there's no emotions, there's no abstract hierarchies. You can't even feel pain. There's no intelligence. It's just little single cells running around eating other cells. They're projecting force into the world and eating other things, right? So that's the fundamental nature of life at that point. And then what happens is they evolve to become sticky. So two cells become sticky, and then there is no negotiation to become sticky. They just became sticky, and then they stuck together, and then they became multicellular life forms, and they are forced to cooperate. It's not like they had a choice in the matter. So eventually the multicellular organisms overcame the single-celled organisms a lot, more frequently, and started eating them, and more energy starts flowing to the multicellular organisms. Move forward several billions of years. What happens is we've got evolution in its full tilt, right? We've got dinosaurs that are massive. They're the primary predators on the land, and they're cold-blooded, and they've got great big solar panels on their back, so that they're able to absorb as much energy from the sun as possible.
Is that true, or is that sci-fi?
It's true, bro. Like that's
why
do you think they had these great big plates on their back?
I didn't know they.
You didn't know what?
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, something's gone down with your microphone, bro. You might have turned down the volume or something. I can't hear you. Or maybe your dogs are busy barking away.
Yeah, there are dogs.
No. Wait.
Go with explanation.
Just wait a second. Wait, what happened there?
You can't hear me?
No. Okay, your voice has come back a little bit better. Try again.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Turn up your mic.
I didn't do anything. I don't know how to turn up.
Did my side fuck up? I don't think so.
No.
Really?
You can hear me?
No. Your volume has gone down significantly. Can you crank up your microphone volume, maybe?
Yeah.
Better. Okay.
Really? What about now?
I mean, okay. I'll just turn up my volume. I just worry that the audience will hear a reduced volume on your side. Anyway, so okay, where were we? Yes, no, dinosaurs. That's why they've got these great big solar panels on the back, is to absorb as much energy as possible, right?
I didn't know that.
Okay. It was interesting information to me. But at that time, they had little mammals, like a sort of like a weasel type thing. That was the first evolution, such that they're able to generate their own body heat, right? So they were crawling around caves and in the brush and hiding away. Tiny, small little mammal, the first little mammal that arrives on our doorstep in the world. And then what happens is a meteorite hits the Earth, kicks up a bunch of dust. The dust stops the sunlight from giving energy to the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs all fucking die, and now this mammal is able to come out onto the land, and like 70% of the predators are no longer there. So it starts to flourish, and then we are a descendant. That mammal is our ancestor from an evolutionary perspective. Okay, so what are we looking at here is and then from there we start to evolve more and more effective means of channeling energy, or literal joules per second power, literal joules per second. So kinetic, projecting kinetic energy. So we start up with fists, we start up with them fire, and then a spear, and then bows and arrows. And you know, we go all the way to the point where we're throwing nuclear bombs at each other. So nuclear bombs is as Jason says, you cannot countervail a nuclear state, meaning that if you're a nuclear state and I'm a nuclear state, if I throw nuclear bombs at you, you throw nuclear bombs at me, we kill each other. The whole idea of this process is that we're able to exert superior kinetic joules per second to determine the legitimate chain of custody of things. So this is why the alpha male will eat first. This is the reason why, because the pride has selected the alpha male to be the superior one who's going to propagate the genes into the future, right? So the pride will make an effort to ensure that the superior genes is nurtured, right? Yeah, okay. And then what happens is, and this is why this concept of the superior genes, I suppose, is deeply instilled in us, because all through our evolution we've always determined the legitimate chain of custody based on who can wield the most amount of who can wield intelligently the most amount of kinetic force or power projection. Because ultimately you cannot say no to somebody who's going to stab you in the heart, right? You're dead, right? You're just done. So I'll just take your gold and stab you in the heart and take your gold, right? You know that in Brazil, don't you?
Not that bad.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, it is bad, but I think I prefer it here than places like Sweden, where there are immigrants raping people on the streets.
Yeah.
We have a lot of homicides here, but not many rapes.
Oh yeah. True. Okay, so the idea here is that for the entire existence of our evolution, we've always resorted to using the power projection, kinetic power projection, to determine who's the legitimate chain of custody. And eventually, once we take over a place, like you destroy a land, like maybe North America, you take it over with force, and then you impose abstract hierarchies in the form of laws and regulations and fiat currencies, right? These are all things that come up because human beings, we say, okay, our group of people, we're going to have this idea about how to structure our society, and inevitably fiat currency has always been a part of this abstract hierarchy. So it's just a machination of the brain, a machination of a group of people. But as soon as and those societies that did not have standing armies or governments, as in, for example, North America, those places got completely destroyed because they didn't have standing armies to protect themselves, right? So the idea is that those societies that do have standing armies were the ones who could overcome via this projection of kinetic power. But we've evolved to the point where you cannot countervail a nuclear state. So since like World War II, it's been sort of like the long peace, you could say, the long peace, whereby there's no major world wars or something. And that's because of nuclear bombs. Or we could say, I can launch my drones against your drones, and then the drones will kill each other, and then you just got a pile of rubble of just drones, you know? It's pretty stupid, reaching that point of kinetic power. So then the logic is, well, why don't you just take those drones, remove the guns, remove all kinetic power from them, stick in a SHA-256 mining capacity and tell them to stop flying, and then the drones can still fight with each other, but with hash wars, you see. So you're still using joules per second, but it's electric joules per second as opposed to kinetic joules per second, the same joules per second. So we can still use a digital version of power projection to determine the legitimate chain of custody. This means that the miners are actually our new standing army. These are the guys that are protecting our shit. These are the guys that, and then the idea is that value will flow to wherever the value is most secure. That's why if you look at in America, they have a very, very, I think they're the #1 economy in the world. It's partially for the reason is because they have such a great military industrial complex which secures their shit, you see. So business people are going to say, well, where is the place that thieves and communists are not going to take my stuff? Oh, likely it'll be in Texas or like in America, right? Because good luck in trying to get in there and taking over the stuff. But now that's changed. It's changed to now because Satoshis are more secure. Satoshis are more secure than anything I can put in the United States. So the idea now is that we can actually still compete with each other, except it's done with electric hash power. And we don't necessarily need to have, and the more that Bitcoin demonetizes or removes the premium value from all the things in the world, reducing everything to a utility, the more we can just rely on Bitcoin to secure our stuff. Okay, so that sets the scene. What I just described there sets the scene. Do you have any questions regarding that?
Yes, I think there's many flaws with that, but I will refrain my judgment, and I will read. This is the stuff that this Jason Lowry guy said.
Yeah, this is his main thesis, is that basically we can use electric power to defend our stuff, and we don't have to use blood to defend our stuff. Our where we choose to invest our stuff. So the investment, essentially, we can use electric power.
But interesting, very interesting. Yeah.
Let's pick that apart now. Let's pick apart the scene, and then I want to introduce the drive chain stuff and how it relates to that. So, shoot.
No. I don't want to shoot. I think one brief thing is that the big guy can still, if you're like you have no kinetic protection, another big guy with kinetic energy can still go there and force you to say your private key.
Yeah. Okay. So I completely agree. So what I'm saying is not the advocation of complete removal of kinetic power standing armies. I think you will always have to have a degree of kinetic power to secure your infrastructure, your hashing infrastructure, your communications infrastructure. Other sorts of infrastructure, you're never doing away with the standing army. Human beings are opportunistic. There's always going to be a Genghis Khan that comes and knocks on your door. If you've got a lot of shit on the table and it's not protected, somebody's going to come by and going to take your shit. Okay, we both agree.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So, but now in this situation, if we use gold or oil and stuff like that, the stuff is more easy to take, right? But what happens if it's a private key that's on a plate like this, like a titanium plate, and I can squirrel this thing away anywhere. So it's much harder. The cost to get this information, you have to sweat it out of like 100,000 people, right? Name a standing army that's going to be sweating the private keys out of 100,000 people. You can do that with gold.
True. Good argument.
You can do that with gold, right? I mean, Nixon, every single government has done that with gold. They stole the gold from the people. But try steal information from me, especially maybe I don't even have a titanium plate. Maybe I've got the private keys in my head. Go sweat 100,000 people now. Okay, so So suddenly now the security you're securing two things. First of all, you're securing the protocol, the Bitcoin protocol, and then the second thing is you're securing the private key, right? So it's up to us individuals to secure the already mined Bitcoin, and we do that by securing our private keys and not being a retard and losing like our money. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. Thanks for saying I am a retard.
I've also lost money, dude. Fuck it. I've also lost money. And I'm a retard.
We're all retards. I think I will still lose a lot, but I hope that won't happen. Anyway.
I hope not. No, these are persist your keys, dude. Persist your keys. Anyway, so do you want to pick apart more?
No, please go on.
Okay, all right. This is where okay, so the idea now, this is where drive chains comes into it. Now, the idea now is to create, how do we hasten the world? How do we encourage the world to move into the hash wars as fast as possible? It's okay, now there might be an element of ideology now, but the idea is that we want to get people to start fighting with each other with hashes. We will always fight with each other. Like now, Russia is busy getting irritated with the West, right? So why, how do we get, I'm not saying that they'll do this, but this is an example. Like, how do we get countries to fight with each other over hashing? All right. People complain about drive chains making perverted incentives. Do you have that? Have you heard that argument before?
Yes, but I think it's stupid.
Why do you say that?
Well, they say, the perverted incentives, I don't know. I was thinking about the mining centralization argument. Yeah.
Mining centralization.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying mining was centralized because of drive chains?
Yeah, no, if you give the miners an extra premium for doing something,
okay,
that increases the burden of, or like makes it such that only the big miners will do that, and the mining will centralize on those, etc.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think the whole perverted incentives of drive
The
chains.
perverted incentives is different. Yeah.
I think it's all bullshit. Especially these people like I don't even want to mention names, but they can't think clearly. In my opinion, or maybe I'm also short-sighted, but I think I've thought a lot more about this. Anyway, so the idea now is that miners are your standing army, right? What happens if you don't pay your standing army? Let's say you've got a bunch of gold on the table, and you've got people protecting this gold, and you stop paying the people protecting the gold.
Yes, that's the problem.
They're gonna fucking take the gold, right? You want to make sure that your standing armies are paid, not only during wartime and not only during peacetime, right? Because standing armies act as a threat to the Genghis Khans that are going to say, oh, there's gold on the table. Oh, but there's the standing army here is not being paid. I'm just going to go right in and take it, you see? So this is why it's critical to have a standing army, even during peacetime or wartime. You have to have the standing army, and also provides jobs, etc. It's, all sorts of stuff. Commanding that kind of kinetic power and the discipline that's required to project that kind of kinetic power will definitely create jobs and create occupations and an entire movement of energy, because you're literally commanding joules per second to project out into the world. And the same happens with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin mining farms are huge. The amount of energy and all they're doing is they're extracting joules of energy from the environment, which is readily available, from sunlight to wind, etc. It's creating entire infrastructure to do that, and it's cheap. So the Bitcoin miners are the standing army, and you need to make sure that as the subsidies or the inflation, the Bitcoin inflation that happens, every people will get angry, say, "Oh, Bitcoin's inflating." Yeah, Bitcoin's inflating. Sure, fuck's sake. It's like 6.25 something at the moment. that's going to reward the miners. But as that's decreasing in time, that's like saying your standing army is earning less. But then the argument is that, oh, well, okay, but what happens if the Bitcoin value has increased, right? So sure, that you can say that too, but you want to make sure that your standing army is definitely paid. They're definitely fucking paid, because if they're not, a Genghis Khan's going to come knocking on your door in the form of a 51% attack, right? So not likely anytime soon, but maybe in the future, quite likely, especially once the subsidies dropped off, and maybe the fees are not enough to pay for these miners. So you want to make sure that their security budget is covered. And now this is where drive chains comes in, because drive chains, all the transactions that happen on, you know, all the fees that happen on the side chain actually can be paid to the miners. So you can increase the subsidy over there. Now, what about this? Okay, that's the scene set. Now, what about this? Every country has its own side chain. Every country, through elected or whatever process they choose, they can set the monetary policy of their side chain. And it's basically how to spend Bitcoin on their side chain. Whether you like it or not, governments are going to have issues, problems with other countries, with other people. And this is good, because now Bitcoiners can monetize the annoyances, the aggression, the peace, the emotions that countries have towards other countries. And you can do this by increasing the hash power. So, for example, let's say, and it's also a way to punish other people, right? Other countries. Let's say North Korea starts throwing around nuclear bombs, right? Well, then the rest of the world can say, okay, well, fuck you, North Korea. Like, we're not going to, you know, the miners would, you know, in drive chains, what they do is they vote up or vote down hashes on no ops. I mean, sorry, no op returns. Are you familiar with that voting up or down process? Well, what happens?
Yeah, but true.
Okay, so let's say North Korea has their own side chain, and they want to make they want to take the money from the side chain onto the main chain, and then maybe you, who is running a mining farm, you say, no, North Korea, I don't like the fact that you're throwing around nuclear bombs, so I'm not gonna vote you up. I'm gonna steal from you. You see what I mean? You're being a bad actor, North Korea. I'm not happy with what you're doing. So I'm going to...
that's a nice way. That's a nice thing. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I'm going to vote you down. You fucker. Stop throwing around nuclear bombs. So this is why when people say, oh, you can steal from... Miners can steal it. Fuck, that's
miners
good.
Can steal.
Yeah, this is good. You want to make sure that bad actors are punished for it, or you could get voted down. So it becomes more difficult for them to operate. And this way, and then how does North Korea react? They need to dig deep, get more hashing power. If they get more hashing power, then they can vote up their own side chain to main chain peg out, right? They can vote up their own peg out. So now North Korea starts spending more energy and effort into less into throwing nuclear bombs, more into upping their electric hash power. So you see, over time, it starts to do that. And then they start to realize, oh, shit, the usage of Bitcoin starts to get more and more important. Oh, fuck, let's spend more and more time hashing. And then then the side effect is that the North Korean people, they start churning out better electrical engineers and mechanical engineers, and all sorts of engineers to summon the jewels from the environment, so that they're able to defend their own political culture, their own way of doing things, like whatever it might be. And the same would go for the United States or any other country. So you would have groups of people that would say, okay, yeah, we're part of the European Union. What would happen is that we're going to always vote up other countries within the European Union that want to peg out or back to the main chain, right? whatever peg out or peg in. I always get those
Is
two.
that your thesis, or is that still Jason?
No, that's my thesis. I'm basically adding on to this. So what will happen?
I think you don't need his thesis. I think your thesis stands alone, and it's more interesting. We didn't need to talk about dinosaurs, but it was interesting anyway.
I mean, I gotta set the scene. I gotta do that. And it's also kind of fun, you know. I like this. I like sort of meandering around a bit. But yeah, no. So that's basically it. So you basically you it's not a perverted incentive at all. If you allow human
Very
beings,
good.
yeah, if you allow human beings to fight with each other, just what they've been doing all the time, but you say, hey, guys, don't fight with each other. Use hash power, and you and you governments, you guys can create your own monetary policy to determine how to spend the Bitcoin. But there's always a fixed amount of Bitcoin, so that the governments feel like they've got some control over how their citizens do stuff. And because human beings, we still operate like the pride of lions who say, oh yeah, the alpha male is our superior gene person. We will listen to this person. The Bitcoiners are exactly the same. They're like, oh, the overlords of Bitcoin, they're the ones that we listen to. So therefore they get to have their say in things. And it'll be the same with the people in the country, right? Oh, our leaders are the one we follow. So they get to set the monetary policy of how we spend Bitcoin. Oh, we love you. You make the decisions for us. And for people like us, Fiatjaf, we're like, well, fuck you. We'll just go down to main chain. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to tell me how to spend my Bitcoin. You see what I mean? So in that way, you sort of like you more quickly get people to engage in hash wars, and we want people to engage in hash wars.
That's true. The more that was a brilliant insight. I mean, the more hash wars, the less actual work and stuff like that. Yeah.
Damn it, man!
I find it hard to agree with that, because
you find it hard to agree with it.
No, that part I agree, but that
you just don't like the dinosaurs.
Yeah, no. I'm an anarchist. I have a name to zeal for as an anarchist. So I can't agree with these state-based views of the world. Like the states are so important. I think the states are just a band of bandits. But yeah, and I.
Well, that's why the main chain is for you, man. Or else you can have like the anarchist chain, right?
Well, my hope is that the government will all die once Bitcoin gets a little bigger.
Dude, there's too many stupid people, man. I think governments are for stupid people, or people who can't organize themselves, or like I think I just yeah, I don't know. I think it's needed. People like you and me, maybe we can operate on the sides, but can you imagine if everybody is like us? Oh fuck, society would be terrible, man.
Society is no. I think society is already terrible, but it also works, and the part that works is not because of government, and the parts that don't work, the government is not doing anything to improve that. I think that's an illusion.
Maybe, yeah. Like when I broke my collarbone and I went into the hospital and I only paid 200 Hong Kong dollars to get my surgery. It's moments like that when you're like,
Yeah, no, these examples they all failed. Like they don't they don't count.
They don't count. Why not?
No, they don't. Because you're taking a specific situation, and like if the state didn't exist, you would have something better in the place. I can't tell you why, but it would be like you would have much better hospitals, much better. You would have like a health plan that would be cheaper and would give you all that you needed. I don't know about.
I think there's a bias there, and I think you're being optimistic bias, and I tell you why. Because because it is exceedingly rare for humans to have created a system that generates value. You see what I mean? The only thing that actually does that is capitalism. Every other system that human beings have created basically have not created value. In the sense of communism, that just sucks value. Like everything is. What system can extract joules of energy from the environment better than capitalism? So
I don't know. I don't know if capitalism is a thing that exists. Like, I think it's just if what you're calling it, what you're naming capitalism is that. I don't think we should talk about this. This is I've talked about these topics all my life with school colleagues and
but
people
we
like
don't.
that.
Okay, we don't have to. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's better to talk tech, and other things. But okay, well, no, I was hoping for some stronger pushback at this little thing, the drive chain convergence.
No, I liked it. I think it's a very a good argument for driving, and even if you don't talk about states and wars and governments fighting with each other, I think it works also for like smaller scope issues. Like the big cashers could have their side chain, and they don't like the Bitcoin people that like small blocks, and they could fight via hashes, and one could try to undercut the other, and in the end, everybody would benefit.
Yeah, the base Bitcoin gets even more hashing power, right? And then you just elevated the fighting to like to sidechain level. I don't know. I think we should recognize Bitcoin actually as a weapon. It is a high energy weapon that targets the wallet of an attacker, and side chains. That's just on the base protocol level, right? That's if you try to do a 51% attack. I mean, if you try to do that, your wallet is just going to evaporate because the cost is so high to do that. And now, and yeah, that's so you know, it's like the Mongols, you know, the Mongolian horde, right?
You love these people. Well, I think are you sure people didn't have armies when Genghis Khan attacked? I think they were just much better.
Well, no, it was the horseback, man. Horseback was the advantage that they had. The training, the bows and arrows on horseback.
I know.
That's what allowed them
the other
to.
people they had armies. They just didn't know how to deal with that.
Yes, and just like the Japanese, yeah.
Although like previous people from the steppe had already invaded the non-steppe people 100 times before, they still were not prepared. Maybe.
Yeah, true. Well, they built a wall. Remember, the Great Wall of China.
Chinese.
Yeah. Good luck with that. That was shit. But no. All I'm trying to say is that the Bitcoiners are the new Mongolian horde. We're the Mongolian horde, and I'll tell you why. Because like we have superior weaponry. We don't even know it's a weapon, but it's a weapon. It's a superior weapon. Like
yeah, that's what I hope.
What do you hope?
I hope it is a weapon, and we are invading like a Mongolian horde.
Yeah. What time is it there now? I heard you yawn.
It's 9.
9. Man, still the night is still young. Anyway, yeah, it's 8 o'clock in the morning now. We've been chatting for a couple of hours. Yeah. Any other areas you want to go into? I'll get off the subject. I think the idea. Oh, was that me? The idea of this warring stuff might not be too appealing. All right.
Yeah, I don't like the analogy.
You don't? Okay. Well, that's fine.
I don't like. Yeah.
Keep going. No, you don't like what?
No, I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. Okay. Can we
What
talk
else?
about Nostr now? I want to
Yeah.
talk
Ah,
about
yes, of
Nostr.
course. Yes. Ah, yeah.
You asked me to come here to talk about Nostr.
Not necessarily about Nostr. It was more of a a spread. I thought there would be a number of overlaps. And anyway, yeah. Okay. So
I
Nostr,
must do my
you got to do your pitch, right?
yeah, I gotta do my pitch. How many people are listening to this?
I
You
don't.
listening to this? Go build stuff on Nostr.
Oh no, my friend is actually building on Nostr. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one? Who is that?
Um, I don't think I can say. The project is supposed to be quiet,
Okay,
but
that's
he's
good.
using your network like at the moment. It's the prime. It will be the primary way of actually developing on distributing information on Nostr. Will be on Nostr, and basically, I wonder if I can say it. No, I'm not going to say it. He will do it in his own way. But yeah, anyway, so he's doing that, and yeah, he's mentioned that a number of times. That anyway, Nostr. How do you build applications on Nostr? How did you come about with Nostr? The design of Nostr, and specifically, what is your threat model? Who are your attackers? And how do you secure against them?
Mm. Well, I don't know. I don't know what are my attackers, etc. I think Nostr it came from a lot of places, but one of the ideas was like, how do I fix this IPFS mess? Like I've
Okay.
yeah, I tried to use IPFS, and then I concluded that it's impossible to find stuff on the internet. And then I thought, well, how do torrents work? You know,
Okay.
they have these trackers, which are just very dumb HTTP servers that tell you who has your data,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Then Nostr is just a bunch of trackers,
Okay.
basically. But you remove the part where you connect to the person. You just connect to the tracker, and the tracker sends you the data. So I publish stuff to the tracker, which is called relay,
Okay.
and whoever's interested in that asks the relay.
Do you want to get some water, man?
No.
When I'm listening to your voice at the moment, I just want to go. When I hear your voice at the moment, I'm sure you.
Yeah, I've done that,
Okay,
but I
good.
muted myself. Okay.
Okay, so I think you're gonna need to expand out a little bit more. Like, don't tell me
Do you know?
what
But you
Nostr.
know,
Yeah,
you know what it is.
I to a degree I know. To a degree I know, but I want to hear a more refined pitch. Thank you very much.
Well, that's the pitch. I don't think there's well,
Dude, you need to up your game,
the
bro.
idea
You
is
need to
that
fucking up your game. That was bad. Come on. Just teasing.
but
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what are you doing? What problem are you solving? Are you relaying
Well,
okay.
okay. So there's another problem. Like this was a convolution of many problems that I try to solve, and
Yeah.
the solution is a very simple thing that I was just amazed that other people hadn't tried it before because it's too stupid and obvious. But I think the last th- problem that happened that prompted me to do it was when Trump was like a lot of people were banned from Twitter, like and
Yeah.
the last one was the president of the United States. While in his role as the president, he was banned from Twitter.
So even the anarchist recognizes the role of presidency and securing that sort of thing. Yeah, that was a motivator for me too. Hey, what a shocker! What a
Yeah.
shocker! Okay, so
So the
the
idea is that you lose when you're a big important person and you have a lot of people following you and you're spreading some message and the overlords of the world don't want you to spread that message. They can ban you, they can kick you out of everything. and you lose like the people that wanted to keep following you, they can't anymore because they don't know where you are, and they want to go wherever you are, like a very small proportion of that. And the problem is that, and the solution is this, like you address a person, instead of addressing that person by their account in the closed system, you address them by a public key.
Hmm.
And there's not a new idea, because many other alternative social networks, protocols, whatever, have already done that, but they all suck. They're very shitty. They don't work because they try to do the peer-to-peer stuff and in very naive ways, and end up like IPFS. You can't find anything. Everything is low, or you have to run a daemon on your computer to be able to use, and no normal people will do that. I think
Yeah,
only the nerds will, and so on. Like you have this SSB thing. Have you heard of that?
that's the scuttlebutt
Secure.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Secure scuttlebutt.
Yeah, the secure scuttlebutt is interesting, but
It is.
you have to have this program running on your computer and or on your mobile device, or etc. But and you can't run it in two places,
No,
because
you
for
can't.
some reason you have to hash the previous post every time you make a new one.
And
And
also you download three degrees of separation of content.
right, yeah, so you can,
Fuck.
because I think that's configurable,
It
like
is
depending on the client.
configurable, but fuck me, it takes forever to like download that shit. I'm like, what is this crap?
I think it's interesting if you're thinking about a physical environment, like you. There was this guy, the guy who invented zero
Scuttlebutt.
MQ,
Yeah, yeah.
zero MQ. You know this guy?
Peter
And then
Hinchins, yeah.
yeah, and he had this idea, and like he died of cancer or
Yeah.
euthanasia. Yeah, it was very sad. I didn't know him. I didn't know zero MQ. I just knew that his idea of a device that would you would walk around the street, and it would talk to devices of other people and route like that. You would take content from others that you don't know, and then you would pass that around
Yeah.
to other people on the street. Like it was something like that.
Yeah. No,
You
Peter
remember that?
Hinchins. Yeah, yeah. No, Peter Hinchins. I was chatting and talking with Peter Hinchins for many years.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was quite an avid follower of his material. And actually, Peter Hinchins is one of the direct influences of the work that I'm doing. Right. So yeah, Hinchins is he's one of the great. He's a good thinker. I really like that mind of his. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was quite sad. It was quite sad when he died. Hey,
It
but what
was.
was
I didn't know you had so close contact with him. Otherwise, I
yeah,
would have
no,
met
no, no, no. I'm pretty close. I mean, I've never actually met him. A friend of mine flew out to Belgium to go to FOSDEM, I think, and then he went to his place and they drank whiskey. Like he used to have like groups of people would go to his place and they play guitar and drink whiskey and I have all sorts of
you.
damn man.
Nice, nice.
How cool is that? That's yeah. It would have been really good to have gone to. He had one final whiskey drinking, guitar playing session before he died. I would have loved to have gone to that, but yeah. Anyway, but no, Hinchins is if you read he's got another book called like the Psychopath Code, which sort of goes into like how psychopaths work. He's got a bunch of material, which is quite valid and still actually persists, is still valid till today. A mate of mine, actually the same mate that is using Nostr, he actually downloaded all of Hinchins's material just to persist it, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff in there, right? Lots
Well,
of
maybe I'll look into it. I remember just reading about this idea he had,
yeah.
and then reading his final blog posts about his cancer, etc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, so Hinchins played a role in it's so unsurprising to hear this. but he played a role in the design or the inspiration of Nostr. Did he? Or no?
Yeah, maybe very indirectly. I was
Indirectly.
thinking that that the SSB thing
Oh yeah.
is similar to his idea of
Okay.
routing stuff, because you download stuff like the SSB people in theory they would be doing like transmitting stuff over Wi-Fi to near people, and then
Yeah.
that's why you get stuff from 3 levels of contact, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the idea what I was talking about is that no one is these things cannot really scale to millions of people, millions of users, and replace Twitter, Instagram, etc. I don't know what people are using these days, the young people.
But isn't that the point? But isn't that the point? Is that you?
Yeah, the point is that Nostr is the only one so far that I think has a chance, and that's the slogan I put it on like that. Decentralized social network that has a chance of working, because none of the others has any chance at all.
Okay, then
I
how
realize
does Nostr work then? Oh, excuse me, it's 8 in the morning. I don't want to give that I'm bored. I'm not bored with the conversation. Sorry.
no
How does Nostr have a chance then?
well, because it's simple, very simple client server protocol. Like you have a client, your client is very can be very lightweight, and you just connect to a server, a bunch of servers, and you ask for data. The server filters the data for you. You ask, oh, do you have this? And the server sends you, and it can be very like it could be this exactly the same performance and scalability of Twitter, for example.
Does okay? So a server. Okay. So all right. So there's a couple of questions. There's data in the network. How does the how do you find that? How does the network find that data for you?
There's no network. Like you just connect to a server. The server has a name, has an IP, has a
Yes.
domain name, and you connect to that. And like you can have a bunch of these servers, and you have to manually set, or your client can automatically find the relays based on indications from other people that like when you start, you get a bunch of relays that already hard coded on your software, or you type them manually because someone told you to use that.
Yes.
Like there's a bit of manual process, and I think it's okay because
That's fine. Okay, continue.
yeah, and and that's it. And like
no, it's not it. It's not it. There's more to it. There's more to it.
you like imagine you have Twitter today, and all your posts are signed. You have a key pair on your client side, and Twitter doesn't know that. And you sign your posts with that private key you have.
Okay, but the posts need to be somewhere, right?
And yeah, they're on Twitter servers. Like they're on a server called twitter.com, and they have a database.
Yes.
And your friends, the people that follow you, they don't know where you are. They don't have to know. They don't have to talk to you. They only talk to twitter.com, and they ask, "Oh, do you have the posts from this guy?" And twitter.com sends it to them
from the database.
And that's it.
Yes. Okay.
From the database. Yeah,
yes.
Very simple, very efficient.
Yes.
And if twitter.com decides to ban someone,
they
can do that.
Yeah.
But that's when we add the other elements, that is anyone can host another database that is basically like that, basically like twitter.com.
Right.
And then your client doesn't only talk to twitter.com. It also talks to the whatever.com and example.com and so on.com. And they ask to all these servers.
Okay.
And like this is not scalable because you need like a million of these servers, and you won't be talking to a million servers. But yes. you can have like your client can know, for example, that the Donald Trump account, it publishes to twitter.com and donaldtrump.com. And
yes.
You ask when you're looking for Donald Trump posts, you ask these two servers. And for some, if someday for you do that for all your friends, etc. And for if for example Twitter.com bans Donald Trump, and Donald Trump now he's aware that his cheap VPS or his domain name will be seized, but that hasn't happened yet. And now his posts are only accessible on DonaldTrump.com. That it's a relay that has only his post. It's only his.
Okay.
Then he publishes a post, a special post that says, "Oh, I'm also publishing stuff to some this other server on Russia, something like that.
Okay.
A random Russian relay." And then your client can be smart enough to read that and say, "Oh, you like Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is telling you to follow him on this other relay too." So you just automatically start asking this Russian relay for Donald Trump's posts.
So, does the relays hand information to each other and then rebuild Donald Trump's tweet history?
No,
Incrementally?
No, they can do that if they want, but the protocol doesn't describe that. Jesus Christ!
Did you cough up a lung?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so the relay may choose to do this if you do. Okay, so
you can have for example a relay. You know this Mastodon stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's very dumb, but they have this promise.
Okay. Yeah, they got the promise. Yeah.
The promise of niche communities, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Mastodon server that's only about coffee, and this other one is only about Bitcoin, and this other one is only like we don't allow misgendering of people and like just woke people here, etc. And this all sounds nice that everybody gets what they want, but if your identity is not entirely constrained to that niche, you start following people from other servers. Like you're a relay that only about football. Like everything's about football, and you also like hentai, like your example, and you start following hentai stuff, and then your Mastodon server that is about football, it will start bringing hentai posts into it because the protocol works like that. And when you comment on our hentai stuff, it will force the server to do that, to process that kind of stuff it doesn't want to, and it also may show up to people that are only interested in football. Like I have this other problem that I have followers on Twitter that they're 99% are only following me because I talk about Bitcoin stuff, but I have also other interests, and I can't talk about the other interests because this will bore my followers. My followers, they're not interested in the other stuff. They're only interested in Bitcoin. So you could have relays like, when I talking about football, only post to this relay, and when talking about other stuff, only post to this other relay, and then you can have a relay that here we don't allow anything. We hate football here. If you post about football, we will delete your post. We won't accept any post that contain the word football in it. And they can have it. They can have it, and it's solved. The problem is solved. We have a relay that is only about football, and all this kind of stuff. And one big problem of this network that's so broad, like, is spam. People always bring this topic of spam, and I don't think there's spam when you're just like you only fetching the posts from people you follow. So there's no problem of spam there. But there is a problem like of people commenting on your posts with spam, or commenting on other posts of other people with spam, like random people that you don't know. And you want to read stuff from people you don't know, so you learn about other people, etc. But you don't want spam. So you can have, for example, cheap relays or relays that are easy to run, that you only use them to fetch the post from people that you know, or it could be like a relay that the person is running themselves. just for them, etc. And I say this all the time. I don't know how to start. I just say etc. etc. Whatever. But for comments, like you wanna fetch comments for a single post. You open a post and you wanna ask some relays.
Yeah.
Do you have comments about this? Like, has anyone referenced this post and in a post of them,
But I
such
don't want
that
to
it
see comments
qualifies?
about football.
Yeah, and then you can choose to just like, I only want to see replies and comments from unknown people from these set of relays that have hard requirements that prevent spam. Like maybe they charge a fee, or maybe they have some proof of work stuff. I don't know. I don't like that, but people like, or they have like content moderation, like active content moderation. Uh, that's it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
is
then
that a better pitch or not?
that no, well, it's not really a pitch, but now that's more the engineer sort of side coming out and understanding it from a systems perspective. Now I've got some questions to ask. Okay, so I write a post. That post now gets signed, and it's a chunk of information. Does that information, and then whoever, and I publish it to a relay, correct?
Yeah.
So now that relay has the single source of truth, correct?
You could post it to multiple.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, okay. So that information will disseminate into the network on a pull basis, correct? PULL basis, correct?
No, I don't think so. Like, you
Okay, so
choose
no.
to
Okay, so
publish
okay,
to the servers you want.
okay. So
And other people can, if they want, copy that to other places.
okay, so what are the other places?
Other relays,
Okay,
or their
so depending on the router configuration, it might choose to copy the information remote and bring the data closer to the audience, right?
there's no router. What router is that? There's no
Dude, a
router.
relay that you fuck, okay, yeah, your terminology is correct. Yeah, your terminology is correct. Okay, so well, you are routing the data. You are routing the data.
Yeah,
I'm moving the
technically, I
data
think it,
from I'm moving you're moving the data from the relay to you, and it might need to go through an wait, does it go through a number of relays? No, you connect directly to that relay, right?
you connect directly to the relay.
Are
That's correct.
relays connected to relays?
They could, but it's not specified in the protocol.
Okay, it's not
They could
specified.
do it manually if they want. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that means you are only going to at any point you're just going to use the standard TCP/IP network, and you're going to connect to relays, and then once you've done that, then you make requests for data based on public key. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a very simple query language, like you.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's really that's as simple as yeah, that's okay. That's fine. But then the next question is like so in this system, your identity is no longer your public key, eh?
Your identity is your public key.
No, it's
That's
not.
a very important. It
It's
is
not. No, it's not. Not only the public key. Your
not
identity
only
is
the public
also
key.
it's also the IP address.
No,
Yes.
not
Yes.
technically.
Yes.
That you mean the IP
Yes.
address of the relay you're publishing to.
Yes. Sure. Because your shit is on that relay, right? And now I can do whatever means I can to take out that relay, right? So therefore I can silence you because the chunk of data that I publish to the relayer, do I persist that on my own machine? I could if I wanted to, right?
Depends. Yeah, depends on the client. The client chooses to or not.
Okay. So that means I just need a DDoS the relayer to take you out, or find the relayers that you choose to send data to, and then DDoS those servers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that way I can take you out of the picture. I can censor you. All right.
Well, I don't think the sensor problem we have today uses DDoS. It's just
No,
these
I
companies.
know. Yes, sure, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, right now the issue, so the threat model, the threat actor that you have are the woke people in tech giants that
Yeah,
are
mostly,
looking
and
to
governments.
governments is harder, bro. Governments can go to ISPs, knock on the ISP and say, you see this IP address, kill it. And then that relay is dead. Your ISP will stop relaying
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
relay.
but you have other relays.
No, Oh, okay. In other
The
jurisdictions,
government, what
right?
the government will say is like it will send an email to the relay and say, oh, if you don't remove these people, we will block you
Okay.
on an ISP level. That's
Yeah.
that like the Brazilian government does it all the time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I always get nervous when people say the threat actor is the state. The state is a completely different kettle of fish to design for. It's a hell. It's a hell. And the only system that I can actually have seen that actually is able to create a system that is able to withstand the state is Bitcoin. So it's a non-trivial thing to
Well, you just learn about a new one, Nostr.
but I'm saying no, I don't. I mean, yeah, sure you can, but ultimately you still, as long as you have the IP address as part of the identity, you're gonna suffer. But so what I do like about Nostr is that you can, okay, like Napoleon. Napoleon before we're back onto war situations, but it is relevant. Okay, like people used to
What
have
if Napoleon fighted the Genghis Khan? What would happen?
I don't know, but you're derailing me on purpose. Stop it. No, what happened was the concept of mobility was introduced by Napoleon. So you'd have people who just have defensive or offensive positions. And then what happened was Napoleon came along and said, no, we're not going to just be defensive or offensive. We're gonna introduce mobility into the situation. So we're going to put all the supplies on the backs of soldiers, and they're going to walk around, just be mobile and walk around the defenses and then attack you from the weakest point. So in your system, what you've introduced is you have a separate identity, and you have the weak points, which are the IP addresses, which is compromisable by the state, but you have the ability to move, to migrate easily between the IP addresses. So you can easily spin up another IP address and say, well, okay, well, if you state are fucking me on this IP address, well, then I've got the same content. I just move it to another IP address. So yeah, that can work. But it's required that you need to manually intervene at every single point. So if there's a sustained state attack, you will be clicking a lot of buttons a lot of the time. Is that correct?
You mean the person being targeted or their followers?
No, the person being targeted, to ensure that their data is
yes,
persisted or available, is available.
Yes. They probably have to do a lot of clicking.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's like it's they're already doing that today, right?
I'm
have
just
this.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's that's what people are doing
The
today.
state is very slow and very inefficient in blocking people. And if you can make them do a lot of stuff to block you, and then you just click a few buttons and you're online again.
Yeah.
That's a very good. Yeah.
So now the next question is, okay, assume this use case. Assume Julian Assange now decides to use Nostr to leak the leaks of the Nostr. What does that look like? I'm sure you've thought about this use case, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay, let's run through let's run through this thought experiment, because when I was designing my network, I was using this particular use case, the 2010. Actually, WikiLeaks, the shit that Assange was facing in 2010 was one of the formative things of why I created this networking protocol.
I don't know anything about this. The history of
How
WikiLeaks.
old are you, young man?
Yeah, I think I'm old enough to know, but I didn't.
Okay. Okay, so you're not too clued up on the WikiLeaks Indaba, right? Issue.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Assange got a little bit uppity, and started leaking classified information, and he would leak it through several means, primarily through a website that was constantly being attacked, and he would spend a lot of time, shifting sort of servers and IP addresses and whatnot, and redirecting stuff. And
attacked how? Like attacked by
DDoS, yeah, DDoS was
from the government.
Yeah, from the state. Yeah, from the state, and also killing IP addresses. So like the state would just go and nuke the IP address, and then you spend so much time in damage recovery.
And these were not court orders, like it's just a hidden arm of the state.
I would imagine that they're a hidden arm of the state. Yes, exactly. Because I mean, right now, Assange is locked up in Belmarsh prison.
Yeah, I know it's
on the hidden arm of the state, right there, right? Yeah. So
facing
yeah.
no accusations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
just locked.
Yeah, he just locked. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think it's just like that. So when and when push comes to shove and you anger the state in a certain way, you can say that the state is inefficient, but when the time comes and when you have sufficiently exposed the state and you angered them in a certain way, they can be laser focus, and all the abstract hierarchies that have been created are which are used to organize people in a certain way. All of that will be cut through. They will use the kinetic power force, and they will cut through their own hierarchies, abstract hierarchies, to control whatever that foreign entity is that is destroying these abstract hierarchies. So the system will impose its way on top of that using kinetic force. So anyway, but yeah. So that's the reason why I would feel. Yeah. I encourage you to imagine a situation whereby you are releasing, as in an anonymous fashion as possible, releasing WikiLeaks type data via Nostr, and you are exposed to the kind of the threat that the state is giving Julian Assange. Once you're able to go through that thought experiment, and you're able to walk the streets without threat of being locked up, etc., then Nostr, in my books, will stand up to a state level attack. Can it do that?
Well, I'm not knowledgeable enough.
Yeah.
To know.
So okay, so in my books, I would be comfortable to say, okay, the pink head woke person in Twitter, that's your threat model. I think
Twitter. The hidden arm of the state is making these platforms do that. It's not just woke people.
Are you okay? Oh, that's interesting. Why do you say we go that far? So you think this communist, this Marxist mentality, this postmodernism mind frame is the state?
Well, I think definitely the state has contributed to create that.
Yeah. Okay.
And the state is, I don't think the state, like, there's not the state. The
Okay.
state is just an amorphous thing, but there's people inside the state that are doing this.
So that they deliberately are trying to encourage this attitude into society. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I
Not
don't know.
foreign, not foreign actors, not the Russians or Chinese via
No,
TikTok.
definitely not. I don't, I don't know, because the foreign actors are also, they're all like, uh, there's a force that is operating, in the hidden, in the shadows,
Yeah.
and there's definitely a force that is contribute to create all these things, and they have some control of over states and other and companies, etc. But the states, I think that they're much more powerful than anything else, and all the other companies and entities that are not state that have some power, they derive their power from the state. The state grants them monopolies and grants them, and a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So no, I do. Okay, so I firmly agree with you that the state is definitely plugged into these tech giants, because it is an Orwellian wet dream. Because can you imagine having all that access to information into the thoughts, search histories, the communications of everybody? It's just a unbelievable honeypot that you've got right there. And data dissemination over a point-to-point network is an expensive affair. And I don't see any model whereby Twitter or any of these tech giants are able to earn enough money to be able to handle the costs of data dissemination over a point-to-point network. Therefore, I have no evidence of this, but I am convinced, or I won't be convinced. I mean, I strongly lean towards that these tech giants are being funded primarily through the state giving them money, printed money. That's and therefore incentives are highly aligned towards satisfying that money stream. So yeah,
Yeah,
so you can be
that's
very sure that those woke people that work for Twitter, etc., 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 they will do as their overlords say to them. And because they're in a privileged position of having of stepping very close to the money printer, there's a certain level of opulence and privilege that is expressed in their mentality and demeanor. I mean, it's
you're
very
saying like that Twitter is not a really profitable company by itself.
well.
It
How
only
do they
looks
make
profitable,
money? How do they make money?
and all these others too, Facebook, etc.
Sure. How do they make
They're
money?
not
No, they don't make money.
ads. They make money with ads.
Bullshit.
And Google too.
Ah, no. The data is. I think that I think the costs for data dissemination are just so insanely huge that
You mean data dissemination is like running a billion servers
no,
and databases?
no data dissemination in the sense of like I've got a picture of your cat and I want to distribute that data to 5 billion people on this earth. That cost is very and you do it over a point-to-point network. IP address, TCP/IP is a point-to-point network. That's incredibly expensive. It's super expensive to do that.
Well,
So
we know that like the state has funded a bunch of like media companies throughout the ages, like right?
media
At least
company,
in Brazil, at least in Brazil, like all the big media companies, they have like a
of
huge,
course,
a huge budget of
yeah,
like government ads and stuff.
like BBC, right? BBC is British government funded, right?
Now, BBC is made by the government, but I mean private companies, and the
Oh,
government just puts money in there in the form
yeah,
of ads for the
yeah,
government itself.
yeah. Know your owner, right? Know your owner. Know who puts food on your table, and then align with us, or else, or else. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what I mean by data dissemination over point-to-point network. So I'm quite sure that the state has got, or certain aspects of the state has got direct mainline feeds into these tech giants, and this information was revealed with the WikiLeaks, the Prism, and all of these different sort of things. So when you start, so this is why the network that you choose to be able to disseminate information must be robust against the state, because once you do start poking that thing, and the state actually mobilizes against you, you're in a situation where you're Julian Assange kind of thing. Now, sure, we're in a much better position because actually the full frontal force of the kinetic power that the state can mobilize is disseminated, or sorry, not disseminated, is not so concentrated because of the force that Bitcoin is got, right? The electric joules per second allows that kind of defense. The state cannot penetrate that. It just cannot do that unless it starts hashing itself. So, and of course, the entire abstract hierarchies that are created by the state orient around the fiat currency that they create, right? So the more and more so that they become more and more paranoid. In other words, the threat that Bitcoin offers is greater than the threat that you can offer. But if you start disseminating data, or like WikiLeaks kind of data, that is exposing deep and dark secrets about the state, yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of the kinetic force that they can mobilize against you. You just don't.
Yeah, but I think that's another problem, right? I think that's the problem of being anonymized. If you can ensure, like Nostr doesn't address that part, like you being able to connect to these servers
well
anonymously.
But so that's why I say Nostr is not sufficient to have the state as a threat actor. It's not sufficient because the IP address, information is available on the IP address. Every request that you make.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like, if you're Julian Assange, then you can make your WikiLeaks data available in multiple relays, and somehow you connect that to this relay, like using Tor. I don't know if Tor works, but suppose it works. You use Tor to connect to these relays so they don't know your IP, and you just publish stuff.
Sure. So you make your stuff available, yeah.
In multiple relays, one in each country. And then the United States government will shut down most of these relays, or they will ask these relays to remove the information.
Yeah.
And the relays will do.
Yeah.
But some won't, like, because they are in a, if you can put your data in a Russian relay, for example, and the United States government can't attack that, or can they?
No, maybe not, but the point is that data is available. But then what I'm trying to say is that for the users who want access to this data, assume the data has a certain name. Okay, we call the name for this data X, right? Can I connect to the network, any relay, and make a request for X? No, you see, that's the problem. That's the problem. So
that's the problem. That's the problem that I said it's impossible to solve. And therefore, I'm not trying to solve it.
But I think it is possible to solve.
I know you think. But that's what you're working on.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is a fucking hard problem, man. Fucking hard problem.
You know, there's some people called IPFS. They're trying to solve that problem.
Yeah, yeah. I know. So
But even if you had this problem solved, you could still be targeted by the state in the way you're talking about. Like you wouldn't want to do it because
yeah,
you would
true.
be jailed anyway. Like you, because even if you have a network, like you said, like you only know your peers, your immediate peers. You don't have full view of the network,
Yeah,
so people can access your content without knowing where you are. They just route the content is routed to them through multiple peers. The state can go peer by peer and torture them and ask them to review what are the other peers, and they review the IP addresses of the other peers.
I agree. I agree. But now the cost of attack has gone up significantly.
Well, the same thing can be said about publishing stuff to multiple relays, right? The cost of the state attacking these.
I agree. I completely agree with you. But then you have to disseminate the. Okay, in your situation, you have to disseminate the address of the relays every time you want to make the data available again.
Yeah, that part is not ideal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's
but then
like
you,
some.
So when you do that,
Some
you give a pointer to the state every time because you're going to assume that you've got one endpoint that you publish that the rest of the world looks at to get the new updated relay to get your information. You see what I mean? So assume it's your web page, and then all your users are watching your web page to see the new relay.
No, they will just shut down the web page. But
yeah, I know exactly. Oh, but so that means they kill that means they kill the index, the entry point, and it's the same issue that IPFS have got. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but
do you see what I mean by that?
Kinda.
Okay, so
you have to find a way to disseminate where the relays are.
Okay, so you have to.
That's the same.
You need an entry point to the data, right? Like Fiatjaf /index, right? And then from there I can download the latest version of the data that you publish, and it might be a list of data that you've published, right? And it might even have data, for example, where the relays are. That index that you've got in your case would be the blog post that you have, which is an IP address, which would list the latest thing. Now, all your users are subscribed to the blog post. Even the state is subscribed to the blog post. So when you update the relay on your blog post, then they're like, okay, well, let's go kill that relay and let's kill the blog post. So
yeah, okay.
So it's not robust against the state. So it has to be a situation whereby the network itself needs to have an entry point. I just need your public key and a well-known convention, and the convention is index/index. You see what I mean? So everybody's got a public key /index, so I can download your latest blog, your front page, your shop front, your shop window. Then I can get access, and then using Hate OAS. Are you familiar with Hate OAS?
No, I only know this name, but I don't know what it means.
Okay, so it's it's like REST. It's basically like REST. So then I can request by request, I can open up rooms of information that you have published, and it's all in the same network, and it doesn't matter where the data is. So it has to be that. If you don't have that, I don't think you can withstand a state attack.
So what if you said like the problem is finding where the relays are? What if you do that only to find where the relays are, and the actual data you put on the relays?
The actual data, I assume that in your situation, the actual data will be on the relays, But the point is that the lookup information, that the relay addresses, you have to disseminate that data. So Donald Trump's homepage was his Twitter, right? So if he's gonna publish documents, he's gonna publish it on Twitter, right? Now that the Twitter people, the state takes out his Twitter page. Whoops, he's got no more way of disseminating the data. You're just doing an indirection. The relay is just an indirection, and the indirection is state controlled.
Well, or you missed the part where I said before, like Donald Trump was publishing stuff to multiple relays, and then the state will slowly take down one, then take down the other one,
I
and
hear you.
there he has time to publish through the other relays a new address of a new relay, and then the clients have time to automatically start following the new relays. Yeah, if the state just shuts down everything at once, then he's fucked. But nothing's perfect, and I think this workaround works well for most cases. But I think it can be combined with a network like that you're saying, like you have an index of relays that's distributed to a different network.
I see. Oh yeah. Okay. You mentioned a good point. Yeah, you can actually publish the addresses, the indirections via the actual network itself. So the first thing that you would download, you give the relay information, and then the relay will send a response, and inside that response will be a list of backup or mirror relays, and then the state would need to start spreading its attack across that attack surface.
Well, just today I saw a Brazilian right-wing activist publishing on Twitter a post like that read like, "Oh, before they ban me here, follow me on Telegram." And they do that all the time. The problem is that they have like 100,000 followers on Twitter, and you go to the Telegram, there's 1,000 people there.
Yeah. But also that guy might be virtue signaling. There's a whole bunch of people that just virtue signal a lot of the time. Bunch of assholes. Anyway.
I actually like this guy. I don't think he is.
Maybe he's not an asshole, but yeah, no, I mean, there's so many of these people that are like, "Oh, I'm going to be taken out. The state is going to take me out." I'm like, fuck off, man. You're like a nobody. Like the state doesn't give a shit about
you. The state does actually, the Brazilian state has actually been destroying a lot of people. Like not the government, but there's a secret arm.
Okay, the deep state, right?
The situation here is a little complicated these days because the president is supposedly high right-wing person, but he has no power because the entire state is against him. The entire media is against him. It's like really? Trump. Yeah. And then the Supreme Court has decided that they command the country, and they hate the president. So the Supreme Court is starting like they're making laws, they're making processes, they're arresting people with no process. All through judicial decisions taken on the Supreme Court. Yeah. And the Supreme Court is the one.
Are they a bunch of lefties?
But yeah, a bunch of lefties. Yeah. And they're taking down all the right-wing activists that they actually support the president. It's very insane, actually. I had never expected this to happen. Like the Supreme Court would be the left power. Anyway, so they have taken down a bunch of relatively small online influencers, and they've arrested them, they searched their houses, they taken down all their media, all their social platforms. Yeah.
Jeez, man. So you're closer to the action in El Salvador. Do you have any inside or Southern American inside information regarding the state of affairs in El Salvador?
Well, I think it's a similar case. I think the left in Latin America, they are connected. They have some organizations that bind them all together, and they act similarly. Yeah, they're also similar to the American, like the North American left, but I don't think the North American is connected to them so directly as they are here. And they acted the same. And the El Salvador president, he's a right-wing guy like not, I don't know what right wing means, but the left
Centrist,
hates
maybe?
him. Yeah, he has a little bit of right wing air. Like,
Oh, sorry,
and
sorry. Everything that is not left is alt-right, right?
yeah.
Just everything.
No, it's ultra right here. Yeah, but he's going against the left directly. So the left hates him, the entire media hates him. It's just like here, but I think in El Salvador he has much more power than our president here.
Okay.
That has very little power.
And
Yeah, but the left, if the left had a little more power there, they would annihilate him to like make him unable to do anything, and then
right.
just start trashing his supporters, and then remove him from the job.
Yeah, man, politics, bro. Jesus. And the left are busy virtue signaling how good they are. You know, they care about them on minorities, but
And the right is so stupid to hear, but yeah, they should embrace Bitcoin. Would
yeah,
fix all their problems, but they
yeah.
don't. They actually, most of them, they don't mention Bitcoin. And whenever they do, they say with a kind of suspicion, oh, this is weird. I don't know. I
You
don't
see, they're
know.
waiting for the alpha males to adopt Bitcoin. You see, they're waiting
Who
for
are the alpha males?
I
Who
don't
are the alpha
know.
males?
I don't know. Who's the real alpha males need to stand up. They need and that's the way humans operate now, man. It's just the way they do. Anyway. Dude, we've been chatting for like 3 hours now. Just under.
Yeah.
Any other things about Nostr? Okay, so how do people get Nostr up and running?
No, don't do that. Like,
Don't you don't want
no,
you don't want people to use Nostr.
no. I want them to build software because the software that is too bad.
Oh,
So I don't want to I don't want to say, oh, go use Nostr, use this client because it's so shit. Because then people will think that is the network. Nostr is just an idea. It has to be implemented yet. There are many software attempts, but they're all very bad. They're very
they all
very
suck
bad.
balls, do they? Okay, so then go through how one would engineer or create a simple application using Nostr, please.
Well, you just need like it's just WebSockets. So you just need an application that can open a WebSocket connection to a relay, giving an address, a relay address, and then there's a set of messages that you pass on that is like, oh, a query thing, and then there's a subscription that gets open, and whenever a new event that matches that query
So you have opcodes,
shows
correct?
up. No, it's just some weird, just JSON messages. I just did the most dumb thing,
Yeah, I
and
noticed that was
most
pretty
the
dumb. Yeah,
simplest.
I noticed that
Yeah,
was
the
pretty
simplest
dumb.
thing, and then I think there's a good. I wanted to do a better protocol with binary encoding is more efficient, etc. But in the end, I think this was much better because anyone can do it. Is like
Probably,
people
yeah.
with people with no, yeah.
I
Anyone can do
remember
it.
going through the source code of my friend, and I saw like these long integers of specific values, and you can create like your own blocks of integers, if that's correct, right? Your application can have its own block of integers.
Yeah.
And then
The kind. There's a set of
kind,
kinds.
that's the one. That's the one. What's the design behind that?
Well, the idea is that the protocol is a very simple thing. It's just message signed in a particular JSON format, and you sign that, and that's it. And then
It's not it. It's not it. You make it sound
yeah,
so
that this is the
simple, but
base,
it's not.
the base.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
the base stuff.
Okay.
And then you can have other stuff on top of that. There's always optional. There won't be any changes to the protocol. Like everything that was built must continue working, but you can opt into new standards if you want. They are being created. Like,
How does
and
the
then
system evolve then?
yeah, the system involves like someone has an idea. Oh, I want to publish live football matches scores through Nostr. and I could do that using Twitter-like posts, like some
Okay.
like just writing stuff. But you could also do a standardized format for that that could be interpreted differently by other clients, by each client.
Okay.
So you, instead of writing Bob scored a goal, you would write in a standardized format something that the clients would understand that Bob scored the goal, and then they could show a ball and an animation of the goal or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
And then the base, the kind one is just like just a text note like Twitter, and you could once you decide to do this live score matches stuff, instead of doing your own proprietary stuff in your own client that only does live scores,
Yeah.
you could publish that to the NIP repository. You create a NIP, which means
A
Nostr.
Nostr improvement proposal. Yeah.
No, Nostr
Oh,
implementation possibilities. Improvement proposal gives the impression that you reforming the protocol, but you're not. You can't change the protocol. You can only add optional standards on top.
okay.
So you,
Right.
you create that, and then other people, if they want, they can implement on their clients too, or they can make other clients. And the idea is that things remain compatible, and compatibility is good for network effect, etc.
Yeah. End-to-end principle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are already people like working on proprietary stuff, and I keep saying to them, no, don't make it proprietary. Make a NIP. Let other people implement it the same, like you're doing. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Okay.
can't I can't force them.
Sure, you can't. Okay. All right. Okay. So actually, the application side of the Nostr would actually be a relatively thin layer that talks a series of it packages. Okay, so you got the crypto side, which would sign the data. Do you have a certain sort of file of packet format or
The packet
specified
format is JSON.
structured data? Do you have some sort of a structured data that you need to follow in order to post?
Yeah. There's an event format like you. The event is like a JSON object
Right. Oh,
with
yes,
a
yes, it is
timestamp,
events.
and the author name, the author public key, and the content, the kind, and there are tags that can be used for arbitrary metadata or for
Yeah. So searching,
indexing,
sorting,
indexing. Yeah,
indexing, yeah, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So then, okay. Oh, that's interesting. I like the simplicity of that. That's nice. It gives you, yeah, it just opens up the design scope so much more when you do it, when you structure it that way. Yeah. So then the dissemination, okay, the dissemination is always a problem, but in your situation, yeah. So in your situation, you just connect to that relay. And then, okay, but you can actually have a node actually acting as a relay to, or a data repository, which connects to another relay, so that it
if you
continuously
want to
feeds.
run that
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
computer, yeah.
yeah. You can do that too. Sounds cool.
There are some people doing it like they have just a relay that they archive their own posts,
Yeah.
and it's just local, and they publish to other relays. You can also have, like, for example, the minds.com. They've integrated it, and they don't have a relay. They just have a server.
Yeah.
I suggested them to do that way, instead of, because people think about, oh, I'm going to make a relay with its own database, and then I'm going to publish stuff there. You don't have to. If you're the source, if you have a server that is the source of the posts of the data,
Yeah.
you can just return the data when requested. So
Yeah.
the Minds people, they just do that. They have a relay, but it's not really a relay because it doesn't accept new events from other people. It just returns the events based on the database they have there
Yeah. The
whenever
database
someone
lookup.
asks.
Yeah. 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 I see what you mean. It is a rather simple system, but done in a nice way. It's a you've obviously thought quite a bit about how to build the applications on top of this. What is the most? Do you have the most what is the most refined application one can look at on the Nostr network?
Well, probably Demos. It's an app for iOS.
Okay.
And there's one called Astro. There's one called Alfama.
Okay.
For like the web clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are I think one thing maybe you might want to think about is not to, because whenever I think of Nostr, I think of a Twitter alternative. It's not the case. It's not the case. Definitely not the case.
That's what gets people moved. Yeah, I think of it as a platform for anything. Like there are many applications that can be built on top of it.
So now the question is, how many developers or programmers have you lost because they think it's a Twitter alternative? You see what I mean? Yeah, I wonder if you maybe want to think about, or I don't know what the latest state is, but try to pitch it as not a Twitter alternative. Or what did you pitch it as? Something that can work? A Twitter alternative that can work? Did you say?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, change
decentralized social blah blah.
Yeah.
But that has converted a lot of people.
Has it? Okay, maybe. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. So they go there and they just start using it, and then okay. So it's like the Erlang thing. You come.
I should do A/B tests.
Good point. So like in Erlang, like they what they came for something, but then stayed for the concurrency. What they came for? Oh no. They came for the concurrency, but stayed for the availability. Or I forgot. But basically, so you're saying in Nostr they come for the social stuff, but then stay for the data dissemination bit.
I think I can convince like the people that are interested in this other case are more niche programmers, right?
Sure, definitely.
And the masses they're interested in the Twitter alternative.
Hi, that's a good point, because then the programmers will go wherever the masses are, right? So if you can attract the masses, then the programmers will look at the system and say, hey, I can do more than just tweet. I can write applications. So maybe you're right. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, some years ago, I was looking to this SSB thing and then also Mastodon. And I saw them just as Twitter alternatives, which they are. But then someday I saw someone did a chess app over Mastodon, and sometime later, someone did a chess app over SSB. And then I thought, well, if you can do chess, then you can do a lot of things. Then when I saw the chess, my mind opened for a lot of possibilities that I could do with these two. Luckily, I didn't spend any time doing anything with these things. But Nostr has the same set of possibilities and probably more.
Lovely. I like it. I love it. Now,
and a guy already did chess.
Yeah.
On Nostr.
but and you haven't done chess? Not yet.
Yeah, there was a guy that did.
Chess.
Very good, actually. His
nice.
App. Maybe that should be the recommended app for Nostr, the chess app.
Hey, yeah, you what you can do is you just keep the social side for the masses, but then you have a developer link, and then the developer link, you say, okay, here's chess over Nostr, and then all programmers will be like, oh wow, okay, cool, I understand now.
Yeah,
the design
chess is the
yes, the design space is open for me. I need to see it from another perspective. You see what I mean? That's good. That's good. And then yeah. Cool. What made you stop using Scuttlebutt, by the way? Why did you not like Scuttlebutt? Secure Scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt, right? Yeah. SSB.
I never used it.
Oh, didn't you?
I didn't have any friends there, and it was useless for me.
A friend asked me to download it and run it, and so much hassle, bro. So much hassle.
Yeah, I tried to use it. Yeah, with no.
It was awful. Bad experience. Anyway, bro, I gotta go to the bathroom. Let's wrap this up, mate. I'm glad we finally managed to meet or chat. Should I ever come through to Brazil to train Jiu-Jitsu, I hope.
What's the history of Jiu-Jitsu, you know? There's a guy who flew from Japan.
Yeah, this dude did judo, right? And like over 100 years ago or something like that, he was a ambassador to Japan or something, and he was located in Brazil, and he started teaching judo to a few people like Helio.
I think the history I've heard is that he started fighting with people on Japan, like gang fights or something. And his judo master didn't like that, so he flew. And he didn't use the name judo when he arrived in Brazil.
That's right.
That's it. He used jitsu or
yes,
jiu-jitsu. I don't know.
He used jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he changed the name to jiu-jitsu. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because he didn't want to make the name of judo look bad.
Yeah. Yes, but I think I'm not sure the reason, but it could well have been the case. Yeah, because I mean the roots are definitely judo, but it's evolved into its own beast. You know, it's like the Japanese. You know, during the Edo period, or the transition from what was it? You know, when they were the feudal times, and then they wanted to become scientific. Well, the whole
Meiji.
Yeah, the Meiji. So the whole culture had to go through a shift. So entire what was seen as the non-scientific side would be cut, and one of the things that was going to be cut was jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu was always seen as like, you know, what Rafarians and highwaymen used to use to steal from people, right? Anyway, so one of the practitioners was like, "No, don't do this. Don't cut jiu-jitsu from our culture.
This is a spiritual
practice. because it has good use." So what he did was he changed it. He removed the martial side of things. He made it into more, you know, you could say more like a good for the health, good for the body, good for the mind. And then what they did was they removed the it became conforming, right? So you would do certain drills and whatnot, but there would be no actual dynamic, non-conforming side of things, you know, where you're actually trying to break a person's arm or strangle them out or something like that. So that sort of like refined kata approach to martial arts then went to Brazil, and of course you need those crazy Brazilians to take this and say, fuck that shit, let's turn this into the real deal, you know.
And they brought the thing back.
They brought the martial side back again. So thankfully it persisted in this sort of like neutered state through the Japanese culture, and then came to Brazil, where it was the martial side was recreated, and then since then it's gone around the world because it's a very, very effective martial art. You know, like some of the Jesus Christ, when you're a white belt and you get onto the mat with an experienced jiu-jitsu practitioner, it's quite something. It's really quite something, you know. You know, getting into a rear naked strangle, when that shit gets locked on, oh shit, it's so scary. It can be so scary, you know. If it's a real life thing, you're dead, man. You're dead. You're just dead. The blood stopped flowing. You're gone. You're a goner. So anyway, like, yeah. So I love it. I love it. It's such a
the name the Brazilians that took the thing are they called the Gracie something?
Well, it's not only the Gracies, you know. You have to,
because I see that Gracie stuff everywhere. Like there's like plague. There's Gracie Academy, Gracie whatever.
Yeah, the Gracies. The Gracies they're rather a vocal lot. They're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. Okay. And also you can get on the wrong side of the Gracies quite easily, you know. I think also
there
maybe
are two sides.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you don't want to give them a credit as much credit, but Helio Gracie did. He was a very important. I mean, the Gracies have done ever so much for perpetuating or making Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu the state that it's in at the moment. But there's also other people like Julio from Grappling Fight Team GFT. You know, he's not associated with the Gracies, but he's also, you know, him and his gang have also got. They're one of the long-term people. Anyway, so this thing is now propagated throughout the world. I mean, it's everywhere now. And it's fantastic. It's one of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is probably one of the great exports of Brazil. So from a cultural perspective, you know, like you can walk into many a gym and you'll see the Brazilian flag up on the wall in some form or another. So
Nice.
yeah,
I didn't expect it to be like that.
Oh, but it's just so bloody addictive, man. It's
But I didn't
so
expect it. Like, why does it have to have the Brazilian flag?
Because people are like, yeah, we gotta acknowledge our legacy. This is our legacy, you know. It's important.
The thing has a Japanese name.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's just like this beautiful thing that's just happened to evolve, you know, like the Brazilians just took this neutered form of jiu-jitsu and then made it into like brought the martial side back, and then, you know, just beautiful. So you'll see the Japanese flag and the Brazilian flag hang in many a gym. So the yeah, you'll see that.
You know, I grew up, and I've when I was a kid and a teenager, I saw jiu-jitsu stuff, like, but I thought it was another Japanese thing, because we had karate, judo, etc.
Yeah,
people doing these things, and they had jiu-jitsu. Oh, yeah, another one of these Japanese fights. I would never have thought it was Brazilian, like it has a Brazilian.
Oh man.
And no one told me, and I think most people don't know. Like, maybe today they know, but people older than me, they probably don't know very much. Like,
Yeah.
the jiu-jitsu is a Brazilian legacy.
No, it's a Japanese and Brazilian legacy, but very much so. Yeah, the Brazilians were transformative in it, and actually, you know, as somebody who likes intellectual problems, like such as yourself, jiu-jitsu really is. It's like real life chess. It's fucking amazing. I love it. The amount of, like, you know, the amount of, like, there's a lot of strategy involved in jiu-jitsu, a lot. So it's just so much fun, like, from that perspective. And it also makes you know, you get strong and fit and healthy, and there's a lot of good stuff that comes with jiu-jitsu. Anyway, we don't have to go too much into that subject.
Okay.
Come on, let's wrap it up now. It's lovely chatting, and I hope I get to meet you. We can have beers together when I go to Brazil.
Okay.
You got to reveal your identity to me, though. I'm sure you'll do that.
Yeah, definitely. As long as you don't reveal.
Of course not. All right, brother. Thanks so much, Fiatjaf. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, cheers.